boys and ghouls, to the spookiest podcast, the creepiest conversation, the I don't have another one. But yeah, welcome to the Devil's Work podcast. The
Hey,
podcast.
I'm haunting here.
Wow, that
Thank you.
absolutely. Did
Thank you.
anyone in Ghostbusters say that? Did any of the ghosts say
I
that? Because
don't
they
know.
should have said that. Ivan Reichman, I think is the guy's name. Free
Yeah.
idea. Anyway, we are the Devil's Work podcast, the podcast where we watch the most disturbing, twisted, sometimes based on a true story to an extent that like
Yeah.
you did not expect it to
Yeah.
be, movies in the world, and we do mean the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
My name is Skeptik, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Sideshow.
Co-conspirator, baby.
That's right. Oh, I should have said co-conspirator. That's a lot better.
Next time we're good.
Today, we are talking about an absolute banger, an absolute classic, one that I was surprised to see was on Netflix 12 years ago.
What
Not
the fuck?
anymore. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
there was like a Reddit thread about it where someone was suggesting it, and then they were like, "Yeah, watch it on Netflix." And I was like, "What the hell?" What a time that would have been.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
we're talking about the 2010 film by Sono Sion, Coldfish.
Yup, this is a fucking terrifying movie for the reason when you find out how real all of this shit really was. It's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. The movie's interesting enough, but
Oh
when we
man.
get to the tail end and we start going into like what's real and what's not, it's very surprising because usually based on a true story is like, I mean,
Loosely.
yeah.
But even they even described this one kind of like as that, as loosely based on the
hmm
murders themselves. But I was like, I don't know, man. It's pretty 1-to-1 when you
It's
really think of
it's
it.
weirdly accurate.
Yeah.
It really, really, really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this movie, Coldfish, it's available on Amazon. It's available
Is
on
it?
Apple TV. It's available on YouTube for two
Oh shit.
ninety nine for
Nice.
standard def. If you can, deal with that
Yeah.
in this modern age,
In this economy.
right? But Sideshow and I both actually got this one off of our DVD shelves.
Yeah, yeah,
This
absolutely did. I haven't seen this since wow, the first time I actually did see it, which was
same.
like 21 or 2 when we were no, it was one. It had to have been either 20 or 21 when you had recommended it to me. Because it was
Something
definitely
like that.
before, yeah, it was definitely before we started the show.
Yeah, it might have been like 2019 at the earliest, but
Yeah.
yeah, I remember we talked about it. That was like early on in our like recommending each other movies, and you said you'd heard of it or something, and I was like, yeah, you definitely got to watch that one, and
Hmm.
then you just went out and bought it.
Yeah, because I knew it was I can't remember if I had seen Suicide Club first or this one, but I'm almost positive I saw Suicide Club first, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's the same director." Like, definitely got to check that out. And
Yeah.
I mean, this was fucking fascinating. It's such a strange movie because like the first time I saw it, I remember just being so shocked at the imagery of everything going on, and like obvious, it's one of those like extreme titles that you see. I forgot who I forgot exactly what version of it I got, but it was like one of those like titled like Asia Extreme movies. Like it was definitely, and it's in that vein
Carton.
too.
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
one of the.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's one of the
Yeah.
other companies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the first time I saw it, I was like I was really blown away by just the shit I was watching on screen. And then like now going back and like doing the show after for a while now and kind of revisiting these movies that I had obvious like this is the reason why we started the show. Like really. A lot this
hmm
movie in particular would have probably been one of the foundational ones.
This La Horde and
Hmm.
not Visitor Q, but something Mike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ichi.
Ichi, yeah, which we will absolutely do one day, but like I'm saving that because it's a very special movie to me.
That's for when we get Mike
Clearly,
on the show.
yeah. But yeah, no, going back and like watching all of these movies now with this kind of this lens of being more analytical and stuff and sort of like taking these films a lot more seriously than I think you would have, like it's almost, this feels like, and it's weird to say it like this, but it feels like all of the 20 like early aughts movies that we're covering are really like the edgelord era of movies. Like
Hmm.
that's really what it was. So like you were sort of in that mindset in that time, in that like era, if you were watching it there, where you were only looking for the most disgusting, only looking for the most obscene shit. And like a lot of
Yeah.
like Serbian film came out of all that shit. So like it was about the hunt for the grossest thing you could find.
Spectacle cinema.
Absolutely, 100%.
And
Yeah.
that's like I've said before, a lot of these movies are like, hey, Cold Fish, the movie with the scene where this happens,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
and then you just go into it and like it's coming, but if it's a good movie, you fall into it and then you're like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I knew someone was gonna get, hit with a wood chipper or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know. And yeah, to your point exactly. That's the reason like we talked about it on, so this is actually going to premiere before the interview episode that we had, which
Okay.
is very exciting. Which actually, for those listening, you can go and watch this happening right now on YouTube if you go subscribe over there. We are going to be doing very cool shit from now on, hopefully moving into video and doing all that moving forward. Please go and subscribe. It's helping us a lot if you guys can just get eyes on all this shit early on. That being said, yeah,
Hit that like, ring that bell.
yeah, absolutely. You can see our beautiful faces.
Yes.
um, but yeah, this is one. I think this is definitely one of the, like it's like we are saying, the foundational idea for this show, because it's shocking, but there is there's actual care put into the movie itself, and like the whole process of like the set design and all that shit. All of this is like it's artistic, really. Like it really is. Like we say, violence with a point.
Hmm.
Like it's got, there's a point to it. It really isn't just like senseless and stuff. Towards the end, it kind of gets like there's off the rails shit, but that's also like, I even think that is a part of the point that he's trying to make in the movie, with what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes the senselessness is the statement because
Yeah.
that's, sort of the what happens here without,
Hmm.
giving too much away in terms of like a morality play where you're just like, so I should do none of that. I shouldn't do
Yeah.
anything that anyone did. Okay. All right. Got it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Everyone fucked up. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And in that way, I think it almost plays out like a Tarantino movie where it's like, no, you're not rooting
Wow,
for anybody.
that's really funny. I didn't like even think about it,
Yeah.
but even in terms of like the horrific elements,
Yep.
it's like way more in line with that. That's so funny. And we do
Hmm.
get a trunk shot at one point.
Yeah. 100%. Yep. That's
That's
exactly it. Yep. That's
that's
what
that's
like
so
reminded
funny.
me of it. Because it's like also
Wow.
you're not rooting for anybody. You're like, wow, everyone's a piece of shit. It's crazy to see how all of this kind of plays out. And it's like we had the same discussion with like Visitor Q. Where you're not really, there's not an antagonist for you or a protagonist for you to like latch onto to really be like, oh, that's the moral compass of the movie, because then it's just
Yeah.
like it just evolves into fucking obscenity.
The Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, but it leads you a little more. There's a while before you realize that it's uh
Yeah,
what it is.
completely
For a little
fucking
while
disgusting.
you're kind of like on board with some people.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, and I think similar to a Tarantino movie, it's like the characters are charming in and of themselves, and they have this like this endearing quality about them where you're like you want to see them succeed, even if they're a fucking bastard. You want to see them succeed.
yeah. There's really only like six main actors in this movie,
Yeah, yeah, it's a really small
which
cast.
I'm looking at the cast because I wanted to like give some props. Um and I'm realizing like it really is like six main people. you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
very. I wouldn't have even caught six. I probably would have said like maybe five or
yeah,
four.
there's
Really?
one that I thought was kind of debatable, but then I'm thinking about it more, and I'm like, no, he's pretty important.
Mhm.
But all of these actors, Asuka Kurosawa as Aiko Murata, Denden, which that's the only name they're giving for him. So I'm thinking he might actually be a comedian.
Oh,
Yukio
cool.
Murata, Mitsuru Fukikoshi as Nobuyuki Shimoto, the lead
Shimoda's
essentially.
fucking great. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he did a really great job, and
yeah.
I saw people being like, "It's not wooden acting. This is just a man so like beside himself and with no like power in
Hmm.
his life.
Hmm. Hmm.
So he's, you know what I mean?
I
He's
can
just
absolutely get behind that. Yeah,
things just kind of happen to this guy.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think his acting is brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Megumi Kagarazaka as Taiko Shimoto, his wife.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, Hikari Kajiwara as Mitsuko Shimoto, their daughter. And then this is the one that I thought was kind of debatable, but I think he's pretty important. Tetsu Watanabe as Takayasu Suisui, the
Oh
lawyer.
yeah, yeah. The lawyer. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could absolutely.
And his
Yeah.
performance especially, even
Hmm.
if he had half the screen time, I would still, call out his performance.
Yeah.
But
And
all six of them are really great.
they're fantastic. It's like it really is. The movie is dialogue driven for a lot of it, and I think that's kind of a theme throughout Sono's like whole filmography. It's really heavily dialogue driven, and it like dips into like the philosophical shit that he definitely has gotten us
Hmm.
with. Like fucking go listen to the Noriko's dinner table episode as well, because that shit is insane, dude. But dude knows
Yeah.
how to write, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And all these like rapid, quick conversations with, three, four, five participants and stuff like that ain't easy to write.
Mm-mm. No, it's not,
And
and yeah, and I mean, again, another Tarantino, 1-to-1. The dialogue in this movie is fucking fantastic. It's the reason why you're coming to it's the reason why you're locked in for this movie for so long, because you get to know these characters just by the way that they like speak, their mannerisms. I think very much so for the villain of the movie. That's like his
oh yeah.
mannerisms are
Oh
fucking
yeah. And
fantastic.
I think that's why I'm gonna look real quick because I think he's a comedian, just the way his name is
He
listed.
he is fucking
But
amazing, dude. Loved him.
if he is, that it explains his energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Japanese actor, former comedian. So that
Yeah,
totally explains his
that tracks.
energy
Yep.
and his he's like he is a showman. The
Yeah, yeah,
character is a showman.
100%. 100%. Yep, exactly. That's exactly what it is. He's an entertainer, and that's like it shines through so well in that role. It's fucking crazy. I wonder
Uh,
how much of that was like influenced by the real guy too.
yeah,
You know
that's
what I
that's
mean?
true. That's true because I don't know anything about what the person was really like. I just know about some of the events.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same here. I know. I think we both got the wiki pulled up. Yeah, and so we could just kind of give a little 1-to-1, I think, before we actually get into the movie, just so that like people could kind of point out the differences and the similarities, as we go along, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, so Gen Sekine, he was a Japanese dog breeder and a serial killer who, with his common law wife Hiroko Kazama, murdered at least four clients in Kumagaya, Saitama Prefecture
Hmm.
between April to August of 1993. Shout out, that was my birthday year. Uh, um, and so yeah, so they it was again a husband wife duo who was perpetrating these crimes, and they did the same kind of dismemberment that you were going to talk about in the movie. But it's again, that's the 1-to-1 is the method that they actually use to get rid of the bodies. It's fucking crazy.
It like even goes kind of deeper than that because they also like each of the people in the movie who become victims are
Mhm.
all like pretty one to one with the
The
actual
actual
victim.
victims, yeah, dude, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
it's very strangely. Like they changed dogs to fish, and
Mm-hmm.
they fleshed out the characterization, and
Mm-hmm.
even even like the protagonist, there was a person like that in the real story.
Yeah, exactly. The one that was like the unwilling sort of accomplice to everything, and like held it hostage, but like even that, it gets debatable and like and weird and blurry towards the end. And I mean, even in that sense, I could actually compare that to Man Bites Dog, with like, all of those lines getting blurred, and how the filmmakers become the perpetrators as the movie goes on. And like, you're not really sure about their intentions and stuff going forward. It's a trip. It's crazy to think about. But yeah, the fact that there was a real guy, I was very fascinated to read that there was a real guy who was essentially held at knife point.
Yeah, before we actually get into the quick synopsis and then the trigger warnings and
Mhm.
everything, I just want to say their murders are referred to as the Saitama murders of dog lovers.
Yeah.
And a year earlier, there was another case, a similar case that was the Osaka murders of dog lovers.
Oh, interesting.
So that's
Wow,
just kind of
5
weird.
people were poisoned? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, what the fuck, right?
That's wild, dude. Okay. What is going on over there, man?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm not seeing any other, serial murders of dog lovers,
I
but it's
know, that's
weird that it happened
wild.
twice,
Yeah, enough for them to put another page in there for you.
And a year earlier,
That's
uh,
crazy. Yeah. Man, that's fucked
yeah.
up. Yeah, and I read that the guy Sakine, he was like sort of known for introducing that type of a breed of dog to the Providence, and like really having like it was his specific I guess, what did we call it? It was
It's the Alaskan Malamute.
yeah, no, yeah, the Malamute, but I mean the actual place that he
Oh,
did it at, the shed.
it's a kennel.
Kennel,
It
yeah.
yeah, his it was called Africa Kennel was like
Africa
the
Kennel,
name
yeah.
of it, and in the movie it's Amazon Fish Store.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
see, it's like
yeah.
kind of um
It's the same but different.
exactly. Uh, but yeah, it's very similar. It's very
So
trippy.
it's just fucking fascinating. So we'll just
It-
like point out like the similarities as we keep going. But yeah, hit them with the synopsis, and then we'll get into the trigger warnings, because this is fucking
yeah.
wild, dude.
So the Shimotos, a small family, husband, wife, and daughter, run a tiny fish store. It says out of their house, but I think more they live above or behind the fish store kind of thing. It's
Yeah. I think that's yeah. I think they live above.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's all cramped. It's
Hmm.
not very spacious. They're barely getting by, and the daughter is caught stealing one night. And when they go to, get her from the store and try and calm the situation down, suddenly the owner of another fish store pokes his head in and intervenes and says, "I help troubled girls like her. Why doesn't she come work for me?"
Hmm.
And that's how the Shimotos become wrapped up in the horrifying machinations of this man.
Oh man, this movie goes some fucking crazy ass places.
It really fucking does.
Oh
These
man.
trigger warnings are
And
gonna
we got
be
a pretty
intense.
lengthy list here, but yeah, for sure. I think trigger warnings I would throw out definitely sexual assault.
In multiple
Definitely in
ways.
multiple ways. I mean heavy gore at some points. I mean, we're talking about like innards and viscera and all of that shit kind of getting
hmm
strewn about. But domestic abuse,
hmm
yeah, oh yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, it's been like a week since I watched the movie, but yeah, absolutely domestic abuse.
lot of knife play.
Knife play. I'm trying to think about. Was there
Uh,
any animals in this?
dismemberment. No,
Yeah.
I don't think
I
any
don't think there
animals.
was actually
I was thinking
animals.
about that too. Yeah, I
Which
don't
is
think
good
any
that they
animals
changed
get
it to
hurt.
fish. I'm glad that they changed it to fish because yeah, this would have been a lot harder to stomach if it was an actual dog kennel.
If someone was doing this in front of
Yeah,
dogs,
exactly.
because I don't think any dogs got hurt, but
No, yeah, I can't remember like and we're sorry if we fuck up and it happens in the episode, but whatever. For right now, we're saying animals are good for this one. It's fine.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty rough though, man. Like
It's
definitely
really
go.
mostly the assault and the gore. And when we
Yeah,
say gore and like dismemberment, like
it's in there, man. This is
there's
like Rob Zombie levels of shit going on.
yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
There's one prosthetic in particular that I'm thinking of that would not have been out of place in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh no. Yeah, no. I think I know exactly what you're talking about too. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Man, I'm gonna have to like watch a clip of Den Den as himself
Yeah,
because
dude, I really want to watch other movies that he's been in.
he's
He's
been in a
so
lot,
good.
and I was kind of cracking up because I was going down his wiki, just looking
Yeah.
at stuff. And for one, the picture on his wiki is of him at like a black tie event, and he's got glasses on, and he looks incredibly like proper, and that's just so funny going from this movie to
Oh
seeing
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then the other one is just when you directly translate movie titles,
Hmm.
you get some pretty funny ones. And he has a movie that came out in 2022 called "A Turtle's Shell is a Human's Ribs." Yeah, that just feels a little clunky.
It's like a Midwest emo band song.
That's so funny. Fuck. A turtle's shell in parentheses is a human's
Yeah,
ribs.
exactly. Volume one.
Fuck. I can hear the chugging already.
Exactly.
That's too funny. All
Oh
right,
yeah,
we're
so that sounds good. You guys can go check this one out. I like you said,
it's a
it's
brisk
available.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a lot of movie for sure. I don't blame you. If that's a lot to undertake in one go, but I think it's worth it. I will just say that up top. I think it's worth. This movie's worth watching for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really really good one. I
Mhm.
cannot stress that enough. Spoilers for ratings,
Yeah, yeah, for
but
sure.
but yeah, let's get into it.
Hell yeah.
So it begins with going into this movie that it's going to be scary, and so it starts in a way that really leans into that. We got a lot of like quick tight shots, and the music is really like building this tense atmosphere, and
Hmm.
it's very energetic and kind of chaotic. And so we follow this woman as she goes into the supermarket, and she's just grabbing random items or seemingly random items and just throwing them into her cart. And I told Amanda, I was like, see, why can't we shop like that? Why
That
can't we
is
just
how. That's exactly how I shop. Like,
why can't
need
we
it,
just
need it,
fucking
need
be in and out? You
it.
know, I'll take three of
Yeah.
these, four of those. Uh,
So funny.
she goes home
Yeah.
and she starts unwrapping everything. Again, like this is all very frantic and very
So
like
quick. Yeah.
quickly cut between actions. And she starts unwrapping, the packets of rice, the big blocks of rice, and throwing them into the a bowl, and chicken and other dishes and whatnot. And she's just microwaving everything.
Hmm.
And then we suddenly cut to the whole family there at the table eating this like pretend homemade meal.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty interesting. It really is like
It does, but you're right. It's very interesting to think about, like how all of their even the idea of their food is kind of like not fake, but not. It's like an idea of a real meal, like you're saying. Like I
mhm.
that is actually very interesting to think about for sure.
Yeah, it's all like removed or like degrees of separation.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she's her heart's not in this family
Hmm.
is what I like got from that,
Oh yeah, 100. That's the best way to describe that, actually. Yeah, hundred
Yeah.
percent.
So there. they're having their dinner, and suddenly their daughter, is it Mitsuru or Mitsuko?
I think it's Mitsuko.
Yeah, Mitsuko. One of the most common girls'
Yeah,
names
yeah.
in Japanese
I
movies.
think there was already two characters named Mitsuko, or there was already another one that we've already covered in like in Suicide Club or Nariko's dinner table.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
Mitsuko in the main character in Noriko's is named Mitsuko,
that's right. That's right.
and then in Battle Royale there's a Mitsuko.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very
Which
common in fiction.
this did actually remind me of the opening, like you're saying, just a frantic kind of like quick pace of things. It reminded me of Suicide Club's opening, how it just real quick, like very much
Hmm.
introducing you, like almost like fucking drop ship, like you're just being plundered into the middle of a fucking like world, and you're just like, all right, get familiar with it. That's it. Get ready, like, and now we're in it.
Yeah,
That's kind of like
yeah,
the pacing of it. It's really fun.
yeah, and it also kind of reminds me of like the first Dead or Alive.
Oh yeah. Fuck, I'm so scared to cover that movie. I don't want to watch that again.
They're fun.
No, fucking not the first 10 minutes, no.
I really love that sequence.
It's so
Um,
good, but Jesus Christ, man.
so Mitsuko's phone rings, and she answers it at the table. And I think Shimoto Nobuyuki is his name, the dad.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think he like tries to reprimand her, and she just like gets up and walks away and ignores him. And
Yeah, yeah.
she
She gets a
goes,
call, right?
it's her
Yeah,
boyfriend, and
yeah.
he's I think he's like, we're having dinner, and she's just like, yeah, shut up, and goes out,
Okay,
and
bye.
mhm. And then we cut to Nobuyuki and his wife Taiko, and they're watching TV. And he decides, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. And he starts trying to kiss up on her and everything, and she just pushes him away and goes, "She could come back anytime. What if she walks in?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, got rejected, man.
It's
That was
it's a,
painful.
it
That was
is
painful.
it is. You know, when it just happens once in a while, it is what it is. But
For
you
sure.
could tell this
That's a
is
regular occurrence, baby.
exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
that's wild.
and then suddenly he gets a phone call, and they rush out of the house. They go down to a supermarket, and I actually noticed as they're going like on their way through the market to the back room,
Yeah.
they walk past Murata.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just like standing near the back of the store,
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, because I was like, oh, it's too long. I was like, that's introducing the villain. Like it's a
mm-hmm.
right away they're introducing him. I was like, because it's too long of a shot. It holds on him too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
exactly.
thinking that. Yeah.
And so they go into the back room where, if you've ever stolen from Target or Walmart and gotten caught, you've seen this back room.
The holding cell.
Yeah, pretty much. The like, we can't detain you, but we will. The cops
Yeah,
will be
yeah,
here soon,
yeah, yeah.
And they come in, and the manager is yelling at Mitsuko. They sit down, and they're incredibly apologetic. They're really trying to get this guy to go easy on her.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, Murata walks in, the villain of the piece,
Yeah.
and he's just immediately so eccentric, so energetic. He's holding the whole room captive as his audience.
Yeah.
He comes in and just starts telling the manager, "Oh, I got this fish, man. It's 2 meters long. It's gonna grow to be three and
He's
a
great.
half."
He's great at misdirection, man. That's fucking great.
He
So
really is.
skillful.
Yep. And then he just asks them, he's like, "Hey, do you sell tropical fish?" And they're like, yeah, I know, yeah, I know, your daughter
Hmm.
told me, like, you guys should come by. Oh yeah. Hey
Hmm.
manager, come on, man. Why don't you just let her off, man? Like, what's
Hmm.
what's the big deal? I know she won't do it again." And she's so weirdly taken with him.
Oh,
Like
immediately. Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though she's this like not stuck up, but aloof. This like
Yeah. Yeah.
aloof
Yeah.
teenager that's like being rude to her parents and all this
Hmm.
stuff. she's like, "Oh yeah, this old man, he's cool. I
She's
really like
right
him."
away. Yeah, right away enamored with him for sure.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Hmm.
Um, and so he tells them, why don't you come by my shop right now? It's not that far. You should come by. Come on. I
Yeah,
insist. I insist. And
yeah.
they just feel uncomfortable and awkward. And he helped them out. And, because they were
Hmm.
threatening to get her arrested,
Yeah.
which in Japan, I think we've talked about this before, but in Japan, the incarceration rate,
Hmm.
once you like go to trial, is 99.99%.
Yeah, we did talk about that. I forgot on which episode, but yeah, yeah, I remember you mentioning that. That's fucked up, man.
Oh, it was when we were talking about judgment,
Oh
because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
because that's
yeah.
the whole thing in that is he's a
Hmm.
lawyer who got somebody off for murder,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that doesn't ever happen,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know. For better or worse, one's
yeah, yeah,
either they're really great at investigating or they just decide people are guilty,
yeah.
and
Exactly. It's a conviction rate. You know what
yeah, exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Conviction rate, incarceration rate would be a
Yeah,
different thing. So thank you
yeah.
for saving us from getting actually.
No, you're good.
So they roll up to his place, and he's driving a Ferrari, which I thought was funny. He's driving a left-hand drive Ferrari that he
Oh,
imported
interesting. I
into
didn't even. Yeah,
Japan.
yeah,
hmm
yeah. I didn't even think
I
about that.
I don't know why I was paying attention to it, but I caught that and I was like, oh, that's interesting. You
Hmm.
just import. Some people have
Well,
imports
because
here.
he's like, that's the thing you were describing. He's flashy. He's very like, look over here, look over here. That's what I mean, misdirection. It's like he really is doing that, and the entire time he's like he's talking with like earnesty, but it also is like it's got a ring of like you got to make a decision right now. Like it's got an air about that to it where you're just like you feel pressured to make a decision and stuff like that. And we're gonna see that right now soon again.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love the way that he plays it is just so fantastic. He's a showman. He's an entertainer, absolutely. And I wonder how much of that, like you're saying, is influenced by the actor, not the real character, because it doesn't sound like the real character. Or it could have been that he was just fucking like really good with the dogs and really good at talking to people and shit, and it was the same way, but like this guy just punched it up, you know?
Yeah, because there must have been that element because of,
Hmm.
certain parallels that there are. There must have been that element of like, yeah, if you're just a fast talker and
Hmm.
push people the right way,
Yep. It's
a
like cult
little,
leaders, how they have that like
mhm.
that, and then even funny that's going to come into play too. With like, it does feel like he's the cult leader of a fish store.
Yeah, yeah, it gets really weird. That
Yeah,
that that part's a little
that's
fictionalized.
yeah, that's gotta
Yeah.
be.
Um, so he takes them to his store, and it's not a little, family run thing like they've got. It's a massive building on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3 stories tall, and its
Hmm.
name is in lights, the Amazon fish store.
Yeah, neon
It's,
everywhere. It's fucking.
yeah,
It's a really cool setting.
Amazon Gold, that's what it's
Mhm.
called.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a really cool setting. I like it a lot.
You know what I thought is at one point in the movie, Nobuyuki will mention, or Taiko will mention, I think, that she cleans all the fish tanks in
Yeah,
their
I
in
was
their
gonna mention
shop.
that. Yeah.
Oh my dear fucking god, man! I used to have pet turtles, and I had
Yeah.
to clean their
It must have
cage.
been a bitch, dude.
It was after like a couple years, I was like, I don't think I can. And I was a kid. I was like really
Yeah,
young.
yeah.
I was like, this is fucking intense, man. I don't want to do this.
You're like, this thing's gonna outlive me, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. So we released them on my stepdad's cousin's farm. So there's like a
Oh,
pond with a bunch of other
they
little
literally went to
turtles.
go live on a farm.
They did. They did. They actually did.
That's so good. That's so funny. Yeah, no, I like I said, I love the setting and stuff because you really do see the parallel between their shops like instantly. It's very
hmm
much, and I like the line of dialogue that you're describing right now that someone's was like You have I believe it's his wife who's who points out, she's like, you have less fish, but they're more cared for, and like ours are kind of just sitting around and not lively. Like ours is like we may have more of them, but it's like a matter of like style over substance, and like
I took that as him just being an absolutely masterful bullshitter.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like he would like when he looks at their shop in
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit, that like
Mhm.
yeah, he makes those comments, but I like he's so prideful and he's so
Mhm.
manipulative that it's just like there's no way he doesn't think that his stuff is
It's a
the
double,
best.
yeah, it's a double-handed like or double-sided compliment for sure. Like it's not really, yeah, for sure. There was another meaning to that for sure when he says it, but I mean like in the sense of you really do see the parallels between the families right away and their lifestyles, and
Hmm.
it's like, it reminded me of like Parasite too, even later on with how the worlds are so very visually um instantly recognizable,
Yeah.
how different the lifestyles are. It's very cool. I love it.
This little maneuver he does when they come in, he like goes into a side room that just has I don't know, probably literally over 100 fish tanks in it,
Yeah, it's
and
fucking wild, dude.
he runs straight. This must just be a real fish store, and he
Oh
just
yeah.
runs straight down the middle of the aisle and turns on some like uh hula music,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then he comes down the aisle again doing a little hula dance, but he's like so frantic and energetic that he's like running while he's doing the
Yeah,
arm
yeah.
motions. And he comes up and gives them his card, and
Yeah.
then he tells them uh all all tropical fish sellers are my rivals, and then goes like this to the wife. Like jumps in her face and then starts laughing.
Made you flinch.
He, he, and then he even gives the daughter his business card.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love that.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, beware a guy that starts calling himself uncle within
Oh,
10
right
minutes of
away,
meeting
yeah.
him.
Which, because I know that we've talked about that before too, because uncle's like a different term over there. It's like a more endearing, like friend thing, right? Like from what I know, it's like a close, someone who's like close with you enough. Like how we would refer to people as like, oh, that's my brother, but we're not blood.
Interesting.
I believe I remember we had this conversation before too, but I think
Oh
uncle has a
yeah,
different connotation to it over there than it does over here. But
yeah,
I
because
100% agree with you. It doesn't it doesn't take it away from that fact at all. I agree.
yeah, because Oji-san means uncle, but it can also be used as an honorific for just
Yeah,
like a middle-aged gentleman.
that okay. That's what I thought. Okay, so it is just someone like your senior, person that
Hmm.
you're just referring to. Okay, got you. But yeah,
Yeah,
don't fuck with that.
yeah, yeah.
Run far away when you hear that
It's a
shit.
weird vibe when someone starts going, "Hey, it's me, Uncle
Yeah,
Yukio."
yeah,
You're just
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I don't like that."
Yeah, me neither.
So we we're in the fish store with him. We're in the Amazon Goldfish store, and Nobuyuki notices this one like large, beautiful golden fish, and he kind of focuses in on it, and that'll come back later.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and as he's looking around, all of a sudden, this woman starts slinking around the corner and he's playing with a manta ray or a stingray, and she comes up and says, "Watch out, their tail fins are venomous."
She just slithers on in, dude. It's fucking crazy. I was like,
Hmm.
oh man, that woman is trouble.
It is so sexually charged
Hell
immediately.
yeah, immediately.
So Yukio Murata, he introduces everyone. This is Aiko, his wife, and they pretty much mention that she does a lot of the work to keep the place going because he's just running around all the time.
Yeah, doing his little hula dance.
Yep. Oh, and then he brings out his snake.
Oh yeah.
And then in the middle of this sequence, we get a really strange, like it almost feels like a fantasy, but I took it as definitely like having real connotation
Mhm.
of Mitsuko just beating the shit out of Taiko and saying,
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
so Taiko is the new young wife of Nobuyuki after Mitsuko's mom died.
Oh yeah. The stepmom thing, yeah, keeps
Hmm.
coming back up. Yeah, for
So
sure.
she's like, "How dare you? Like you're smoking in my mom's house. Like
Yeah,
it's reeks like cigarettes, you bitch." And
yeah.
just
I
keep
did
like,
take that as a flashback. I did think that that was a real, like that was just something that she like. They're just filling in the character, but it was a strange place to put it in. It was
yeah,
fucking wild. It happens. I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
yeah. I think it's just like Nobuyuki zoning out and being like, "Damn, we're
Yeah,
over here like doing all this, pretending to be nice people." And
yeah. Oh, okay. I get. That makes sense now that you describe it and you explain it like that. That makes 100% more sense. Yeah.
God, and then his wife gets in the car with them, and he has Mitsuko get in his car, and she
Yeah, that was
reveals,
fucking strange, man.
"Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
The
no.
uncle thing, this,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
God." And then that's where she reveals, she puts into words that her mom is, dead, and
Yeah.
like that's not my mom. I don't care about her and
Hmm.
all this stuff. And uh Murata basically says, "I want to see your guys' shop. Let's go. Let's look. Let's go check it out." So it's 11:30 at night.
So pushy, dude. It's so uncomfortable.
It really is, and you get the vibe Nobuyuki, regardless of the situation, he
Hmm.
just has no balls.
Exactly. He's
You know,
allowing all of this to happen. Yep.
yeah, he just everything just washes over him,
Yep.
and it's like the one thing he had control over, which was finding a new wife after his original wife passed away,
Yeah.
which is totally fine to do. Like he put in some effort, and now it's not working, and he's just like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. He's just kind of like, yeah, completely just receded back into himself. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. And this is where he makes the comment about their fish being more lively, and we also see all of the astronomy stuff that, or not
Yeah. Well, yeah,
astro
yeah, astrology. Yeah.
astrology is the real one.
I think, yeah. I love
I get a
it.
little mixed up.
I love that.
Astrology is like there are planets and stars. Astronomy is like, don't blame me. Fucking
Yeah. Oh man, it's the fucking Sagittarius in me or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. The real one. That killed me, yeah, for sure. But yeah, you do see his interest in the stars and stuff, which I think it does say a lot about his like mannerisms and stuff. He's very, like I said, he's just out there, he's flashy, he's grandiose, he's big picture, all the time.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And it also tells you about Nobuyuki that, I mean, it's just escapism.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
His life sucks.
Hmm. Oh
um,
yeah. My bad. I meant because yeah, that's right. We're here at the other shop right now.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
my
So
mistake. Yeah,
Nobuyuki's
yeah.
the one that likes the
You're
astrology.
you're right. Yeah. That's so good. Just hitting it real
You
hard.
you heard how purposeful that
Yeah.
pronunciation was.
That's so good.
um, and then we get this like weird dream sequence, very briefly, of the Shimoto family loving each other and like watching fish in a tank and being like, "Oh, isn't this great?
Yeah.
Let's tussle each other's hair."
Yeah.
That shit's always hilarious.
So funny. Yeah.
And we get the title card, and then I don't know if it's the next day. It probably does actually say the dates and everything, but the
Mhm.
timeline isn't necessarily that real or
Yeah,
important.
yeah. Yeah. They do say the days and all that.
So we see the Amazon Gold Store opening up, and this is where we see the cult, for
Yeah,
not even
straight up.
lack of a better word.
Straight up, it's just a cult.
It's
Yeah.
just fucking mad uncomfortable.
They're
He
just a militia without being armed.
Yeah, during their like visits to each other's shops, at one point he tells Shimoto, "Hey, I help troubled girls like her. Why don't you have her come work
Hmm.
in my store, and I can help her get her shit in order. Like she's old enough, she should be earning a living and all of
Yep.
this stuff." Which is like really weird to me because like my family did construction or does construction,
Yeah.
and if I had just like gone and done construction for someone else,
Hmm.
like that would be weird, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely not a great look.
Like it just seems kind of strange. Like she's like, "Yeah, I don't even care about the fish," and then he's like, "Come work for me." She's like, "I love fish,"
Yeah, for sure.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And I will say they just recruited her to the fish militia or the
Yeah,
Mephisha.
yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Fish army, bro. I've been serving since '92.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah, but it is a weird but I think he does a good job of like almost disarming him right away and being like it's going to be mutually beneficial for both of us for like, you'll have her income coming in and I'll have another worker.
Yeah,
So, I
she'll
think
be out
he
of the
yeah.
house. You guys will have,
Yeah,
privacy and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And we see too, all of his girls are dressed in like these thin ass tank tops
It's just
and
Hooters but for fish.
yeah, it's literally fish hooters and camo shorts,
Yeah.
camo jorts.
Yeah, Jorts. Yeah.
And then he does a whole psych up speech and has them like,
Yes.
what can be done now? We do
Yeah.
now. What can be done
Yeah. Yeah.
now? Like, and
So
they got the Shimotos watching all of it, and he introduces Mitsuko and hands her over to, I forget her name, but one of the girls, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be taking care of her. Like, don't worry, I'll help her. Learn the ins and outs and everything."
yeah.
It's such a weird vibe, and
Yeah, right away. Yeah.
yeah, they take her to her dorm and get her all set up, and oh, I forgot. Yeah, this is what happens. So they tell Nobuyuki, they're like, "Hey, why don't you go home? You have to open your store. We'll get her settled, and you know what? I'll take Taiko home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll bring her home. So why
Hmm.
don't you just go do whatever you got to do? I won't hold you."
Hmm.
And he just like, "Oh, okay, sure. That's not weird at
Jesus
all."
Christ. Yeah. Immediately I was like, that's pretty sus, bro.
Yeah. So he takes her into his office and he's like pretending to talk about this fish for a little while and
Hmm.
then starts getting into some real charge
Real,
talk.
real handsy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Telling her you blame yourself, huh? She's doing all of this because of you. You smoke behind your husband's back.
Hmm.
And then he like literally puts a cigarette in her mouth
Yeah.
and tells her, "Why don't you go ahead and smoke?"
Hmm.
And
Just
this
indulge, you know?
Yeah, he should say, "Taiko, you can smoke. What does my daughter know?" And this
Yeah.
cracks me up because all of the sex scenes in this movie just make me feel like everyone who made this movie has never had sex. Like he starts grabbing her tits, and it's just like I don't know how to describe it, man. It's like he's like fucking trying to play with silly putty or something. Like he's not.
That's so fucking funny.
It's so weird. It's so like overly aggressive and just not.
Yeah, for sure. That's so goddamn
It's like when you're like 12 and you're like, oh man, my hormones are raging. I would love to hook up with a
funny.
girl. I would
Oh my
grab all
god.
those things,
Yeah,
you
like
know?
the Joker quote is I'm like a dog with a car. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught it.
Fucking pretty much, man.
That's fucking amazing.
And then he starts slapping her and telling her to take her clothes off. And
Yeah.
it was so, it's getting so uncomfortable. And then it
Mm.
gets even weirder because she's like, yeah, hit me, please. Keep hitting me. Hit
Hmm.
me more.
That is known as CNC.
Yep, that's exactly where it ends
That's
up
literally
going.
where this goes.
That's 100% where it goes.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
and it's just mad uncomfortable to witness because it's just like going back and forth. And then
Yeah.
yeah, he starts like kissing her stomach while he's like her belly button while he's like
Yeah,
eh.
fumbling around up there.
Like afterwards it just cuts to them in the car outside of their house, the
Oh my
Shimoda's
god.
house.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I turned to Amanda, I was like, I don't think they had sex because I don't think he knows what sex is. I was like, I feel like he just like stuck his tongue in her belly button and was like, "Ooh, I hope you don't get pregnant, girl." Like,
That's so fucking funny, dude. I just never considered that. It's so funny. It's
it's
so accurate too. That's the thing. It totally is. He's just fumbling around like a fucking idiot on her.
it's it's like
Oh man.
it's like in early Rick and Morty when he's having the fantasy about Jessica.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and and she's like, come on, Morty, slap them around, push them together, try to shuffle them. No wrong answers.
So fucking good.
Try to shuffle them is absolutely insane.
Fucking amazing.
Try to shuffle. That's like that'll be in my brain for the rest of my fucking life, dude. That is too
There's
absurd.
no wrong answers. It's fucking great.
That's basically the life Murata lives.
That's literally what he's going based off. That's his fucking that's his MO for sure. That's funny as fuck, dude. Oh my god.
What a what an absolute just like monster of a man
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like kind of kidnap this guy's daughter,
Hmm.
fuck his wife, pull up
Yeah.
out front while you're fingering her,
Hmm.
and then as he's like dropping her off, he's like, "Come on, man, you gotta come check out this fish that I just got. You gotta check this fish out, man. Come on." And she comes in, and it's just crazy, but it's also kind of real life. There are just some people that have this level of charisma for whatever reason,
Oh
however
yeah.
it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
where people just fall under their spell right away. And I don't know if
Cult
I
leaders. That's exactly what it comes down to.
no, totally, but
Hmm.
it's just like I guess what I'm saying is like what is that X factor and why does it get used for evil
Yeah,
99% of the
more
time?
often than not. Yeah, for sure.
Because she's just like immediately comes in and she's like, how could you turn him down? You really needed to go with him. He wants you to be his
Hmm.
business partner. Like
He's
you're not
trying to help
interested in
us.
business. Like we need to build
Hmm.
this up. He's gonna do so much for us and
She
all this
starts gassing
stuff.
him up immediately. It's wild.
It's like, damn, at least try to hide that you just
Yeah.
fucked this guy.
Yeah.
She's like, take his proposal.
Yeah. Yeah. Wiping your face.
I don't know if the video is gonna catch that, but yeah, I was wiping my mouth off. Which I'm not slut shaming at all. I mean, hey,
Oh no.
a good
No.
session leaves everyone with stuff to wipe off.
Hmm.
But yeah, she's just like not even hiding that she's that's the one thing I'm shaming. I'm not shaming,
Yeah.
don't fucking cheat.
Yeah.
And
That's fair. That's great.
then she starts kissing on him and
Yeah,
tells him
sure
like,
enough.
"Come on, he's just thinking about what's going to be best for us." And I feel like the implication is she does fuck him too, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
simply to get what her
Throw the scent off.
yeah, get her new boo
Yeah.
what he wants. So the next day, I believe, Nobuyuki goes in to see Murata, and as he goes into the store, he sees Mitsuko and tries to get her attention, and she just completely ignores him.
Yeah.
And
She's cold
he's
as fuck, dude.
mhm. The real cold fish
Yeah.
was the teenage girls we met along the way. Wait, no, don't clip that. Don't clip that. Um, but no, no one's. And hey, I say this having grown up with a sister that's about 3 years younger than me. No one is crueler than a teenage girl.
Oh fuck no. Absolutely not.
Like
Yeah.
that's not random sexism. I'm a man who was fucking beleaguered and victimized.
That's good.
um,
Oh, that's so funny.
he comes in. I'm gonna have to look up this actor as well, the business partner that they bring in because he's also really great, Mr. Yoshida.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so he comes in and he's under the impression that he's gonna have a meeting about whatever this opportunity is. But he comes in and Susui, the attorney we talked about earlier, the
Hmm.
lawyer, is there. This guy Yoshida is there, and
Who gives me the lawyer definitely gives me Yakuza vibes like
oh
immediately.
yeah,
Like
yeah, for
immediately.
100%. We start looking into this guy's IMDb. It's a ton of Yakuza movies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He could for sure, and I say that having not looked yet. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, he's like totally like a the chairman kind of guy. You
Hmm.
know that like
Yep.
grizzled face and voice and everything, and
Yep.
his performance. Like he's he kind of strikes me as like Japanese Vincent D'Onofrio.
Wow, that's excellent. I would back that. Absolutely. That's so accurate. That's crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just thinking about it. I was like, he's kind of like the Japanese version of Kingpin, Wilson Fisk,
Yeah,
and then I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
Wilson Fisk, absolutely.
just in like
100%.
his demeanor, not his character in this movie.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
kind of the guy and
His
his
presence.
look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just his
I could
presence. Yeah.
I could hella see him chomping on like a fat ass cigar and like
Yep.
yeah, or you know.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, the Yakuza they roll their R's a lot, and like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's like literally a thing where when Westerners start speaking Japanese,
Hmm.
sometimes Japanese people will have to be like, "You need to stop. You sound like a criminal. Like you're talking like
Yeah, the
like
inflection
you."
is the whole thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, the inflection and also just all the like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like there's a
It's almost like
little
throwing
bit.
in like slang in Spanish and like like when you're Spanglish, you know what I mean? Like when you're just kind of like throwing it in there and like it's not a proper way of talking so that people look down on you for it.
It's like when the tortas are like, "Damn fool,
Yeah.
I was over here going to school."
You're stupid. God
Damn
damn
fool.
it.
I gotta keep you on your toes.
Son of a bitch, that was so good. You're fucking killing me today.
Hey, we got to make up for the energy, you know.
Oh my god, I love this so much.
So this is where he goes into his scheme, and this mirrors real life because in real life, I think they were huskies,
Yeah,
but that was the whole scam that ended up causing him to like murder a bunch of people.
exactly. They're describing it in this scene essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's like, I've got these two arowanas. Hey, we can smoke them. No, I got these two arowanas, and I had to import them from the Amazon. They're 10 million yen each,
Yeah.
which is like $140,000.
Damn. Nice.
somewhere around there,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe.
I trust
Uh,
your translations because you've actually done that before where you were like super crazy accurate
oh
or at least
yeah,
like crazy close to it.
I want to know now though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I gotta double check
Okay,
my work.
yeah, yeah. Okay, my math wasn't good on that one. 621,000. No,
Wow. Shit.
62,169 dollars.
Okay, okay.
That would
Okay.
be 10 million Japanese yen
Okay.
today.
Today.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, back then it must have been even more.
yeah, 15 years ago, probably, I think, yeah, the gap was wider then.
Yeah.
But
So, but
it's
the
a,
point was that they're telling him like no fish is ever sold for that. I don't know where you're like where you're
yeah,
getting that information. He's like, no, no, like it's in this magazine. Like, look at this. Like they sold this for this much, and it's weird. Like, yeah, but again, that misdirection. He's fucking using it like to full force in this fucking scene. It's so good.
yeah,
He is going hard.
and when he starts going into like showing him the sources on why this
Mhm.
fish costs so much, and like I think it's literally like the article is him talking, or oh no, it's not the article of him talking. It's that he's also putting an uh there's an article about the fish, and then he's also putting an ad on the back that he sells these fish.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like media manipulation. This guy has so
Hmm.
much money, he could just pay somebody to write an article that says these fish are worth this amount of money, and then
Yep,
he slaps his ad on the back of it.
exactly. Yep.
So it's just bullshit. It's just
Hmm.
what rich people do. But yeah, in real life, same thing. He had some dogs, and he claimed that the puppies were all going to be worth millions of yen each,
Yeah,
and then it
it
wasn't.
turned out to be like
There's
though didn't what they were sick, right? I want to say they got like super sick, and then it
yeah,
was like determined that they weren't even going to be able to be
yeah,
bred.
they weren't even breedable, which I
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah,
that means for a dog. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I don't think they were sterile, but
Hmm.
yeah, there was, and he knew that in real life. Gan knew that the two dogs were not going to be able to have puppies, and then
Yeah,
he sold
yeah.
that. That was the thing in the movie. He's like, I'll hold on to the fish, but if you give me the seed money,
Hmm.
I can build the facilities to have all the babies, and then
Yep.
we can get our money on the back end from all the babies of the fish. But in real life, he was like, "Hey man, just take these two dogs, take them home, have them fuck
Yep.
each other. You're gonna make a
Yep.
bunch of money."
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and then he's doing a great job in this of portraying that, of telling him like, look, 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 here's a source that I made up. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. You're thinking about it. I need
Mm-hmm.
you to not think about
And
it.
annotation, me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's fucking cool how you see him getting thrown off. And then what he literally just brings in Nobuyuki? That's his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nobuyuki.
Nobuyuki. See, he brings him in just as a grounding source of like, look, I have people who vouch for me. Like he has him just to be there as he even says it. He's like, I just need you to like stand in and just look pretty much just like give him reassurance
Yeah,
and
and
everything. Like it's
and
crazy.
every time Yoshida goes to ask Shimoto a question, Susui
Murata
jumps
just
in,
fucking
or yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's either Susie or yeah, Murata. They're
they
definitely
they just they just won't even let him speak at all. And he's like,
absolutely not.
10 million for one fish. I
Hmm.
guarantee it. And he's like, well, I did research. The most expensive fish is only 1 million. Finally, Shimoto speaks up. And that's when he takes him to the side and tells him,
Hmm.
I just need you to sit there. You don't need to even say anything. And they come
He's
back
like,
in, and
matter of
he's
fact, it's better if you don't.
yep. He comes back in, and he's like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. It's just gonna be us. We're not even gonna do it. And this is also this whole performance of him
It's
like,
fantastic. This
don't
is
touch.
fucking great. Yeah.
Like all of a sudden Yoshida's like, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm so sorry, and all
Hmm.
this stuff. But
Hmm.
it's so comedic. It's so
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously his chops as a comedian.
Yeah.
Um,
Full display right here for sure.
and so basically, they come back into the room after their little sidebar, and the money's being exchanged and the paperwork is being signed.
Yeah. I love it. He's like, all right, let's get ready for war. He's like getting pumped up and shit. And he just walks out. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because when he took him to the side, probably what happened is Susui was like, "Oh man, we better hurry up and get this signed because they're about to just say that they don't want you to be in the deal
Yeah,
anymore."
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like a psychological play for sure.
Which, but it's also Murata couldn't be the one to say, "Let's get up and go have this side conversation."
It
It
had to
had to
be.
be
Yeah,
Shimoto,
yeah,
so he had to bring him in with no context, and it had to. It's
yeah,
all just like
yeah.
this
He's
master
playing
level.
fucking chess with everybody. It's crazy, dude.
It's absolutely insane, and
Yeah.
it's crazy that this level of sociopathy is so real.
Oh, yeah,
I've
yeah.
had multiple friends that like, it's like almost a trope and like a cliche to say it, but like it is true, and
Mhm.
we all run into them. People that are sociopaths and people that are
Yeah.
narcissistic, and that doesn't mean that everyone that wrongs you is one of those things, but
Mhm.
I
Lot,
had
lot
a
of business majors.
yeah. Those are the bad people. Um,
Yeah.
but like, I've had friends who like never threw on weed for like years, but I'm like, that's my boy. Like, I don't care. We're hanging
Mhm.
out. If I'm smoking, we're both smoking, whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And then, one day I ask for a favor, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's what you think a friendship is? It's like just things you get from people. And it's just like, I give you
Yeah.
stuff all the time.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
What the fuck are you
You're
talking
singing
about?
my fucking song, man.
Yeah, the song of our people.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. People
Yeah.
somehow they just know how to twist those buttons. And
Yep.
looking back, I'm like, why did I smoke that dude out every day for 2 years?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Like
a hundred
what
percent.
what the fuck was
Yep.
I thinking?
You're almost like gaslit the entire time. Yeah. It's fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
And then this next part I find kind of hilarious because of the Yakuza games. Because
Mhm.
in the Yakuza games, you buy these little like they're like bigger than 5 hour energies, but like the little vials
Oh yeah.
that they
Yeah.
like bring in,
Yeah.
like energy drinks like that are like health.
Like health shots or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
so in the
yeah.
game, you use those to recover your health. So like when they brought them in, I was like, are they all just like drinking a little energy drink? Or
That's
I
what
get
I thought. I thought it was like alcohol. I thought it was just like little like shots of whatever.
Yeah, like you just said, now they're calling it a health shot. That's probably what it is. Is like either there's some alcohol in
It's
it,
the
or it's
anti-health shot.
it's just like some fermented stuff that's good for you. So here's you just drink one of these a day or whatever kind of thing. Because they're
Yeah,
really little.
tiny.
They're not
Yeah.
like cans. They're not beers. They're definitely not
Mm-hmm.
beers.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a little bigger than an airport bottle.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't even call them like sake bottles. They look like something else, but like maybe like a soju or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I wanted to see. I'm trying to look up what they actually would use in real life because this is another one of those that's like one to one with a real story.
Yeah, because he did do this. So let's finish the scene and then
Yeah,
we'll
I don't know.
go
Go
into
ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
go to
you
the
do it
real thing.
for sure.
So Aiko, that's Murata's wife, comes into the room with the drinks. Everyone's like starts celebrating, and then she's like,
Hmm.
"Hey, why don't you come with me? You can come see Mitsuko. Like she's doing really well." And he's like, "Oh yeah, definitely." Again, misdirection and pulling him in a million directions.
Yep.
And he goes out and she's fucking feeding piranhas, which is crazy because there's no
Oh,
way
is that what
this.
she was doing? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, they're
Crazy.
piranhas that are
Crazy.
eating because they like absolutely tear apart the little
Yeah.
like goldfish she's
Yeah.
dropping in there.
Oh,
Um,
that's right. Yeah, the water looks all fucking crazy after that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and she like won't talk to him. He's like trying to talk to her, and she's just feeding the little fish to the big fish.
Hmm.
Wonder what that's a metaphor for.
Yeah. Do you
And
get it?
And then Susui shows back up and is like, "Hey, Shimoto, he's looking for you." brings him back. Like literally, they're like, "Go see your daughter for 10 seconds. Come back over here."
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't read as a oversight or like sloppy writing. It's them going "Meh, meh, 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 meh," with
Exactly.
his
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's getting it's giving him emotional whiplash. That's all they're trying to do is just like keep
yeah,
him on his fucking toes, keep
and
him
that
disoriented.
and that's one of the best ways to keep people off their
Mine.
toes.
Yep, exactly.
To keep them
That's a cult
off
leader
balance.
method. Yep,
Yeah, you just fuck
exactly.
them up so they don't know which way is up, which way is down.
Exactly.
I love this because I was like, especially having only seen it the one time before and rewatching it now,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I wonder how long it's going to be before this statement, comes to pass.
Yeah.
Because he says, I have to avoid getting caught until my girl marries a good man. And all of a sudden,
Weird.
everyone's like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, didn't I tell you I have a daughter? No. What did you say about getting caught? And then Yoshida's like, you did say that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where he's like, I love that little break in his character. It's so fucking cool. It's so cool.
But even then, it's purposeful because he knows it doesn't matter anymore. It's
Yeah,
like
literally, like it's not gonna matter in literally a minute.
as much as from a writing perspective, it's like, wouldn't it be cool for him to say this? And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, he shouldn't have said that. So now
yeah.
this guy dies. So but then it's just like, you
No,
know,
it was gonna happen.
he
Yeah,
was
that
he
was
was
predetermined.
he was just like, oh man, I'm so good at this. I can just tell this guy to his face.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Mm-hmm.
just said it to like amuse himself.
That's literally, and then yeah, in that vein too, I would also that's what I'm saying. I'll point out the comparison between him and Benoit from Man Bites Dog.
Hmm.
I mean, he has that like nonchalantness about him, and it's just like, all right, like they're gonna die. I'm just gonna fucking say what I need to say right now, and like it doesn't matter. It's crazy how that just like you're saying, the
Yeah.
pathological shit just fucking comes out like that. It's wild.
The James Bond villain speech.
Yeah, yeah,
You only do that when you're like really sure the guy's gonna die, but also like
yeah,
look at him and put a bullet in his head when you're
yeah,
done.
exactly. Watch the light leave that man's eyes.
Yeah, yeah, and even that's not usually enough.
No, no.
Sidebar: both Captain America and Batman around the same time, and I think Cap did it first,
uh,
but at the end of the Civil War comic, Steve Rogers turns himself in, and everything's going towards like pro registration.
yeah,
I forget what the like big thing at the end is that makes him decide to turn himself in. But obviously, everyone's kind of like, yeah, the fascism's bad, but us killing each other isn't making things better either.
yeah, yeah.
And then he's being walked out of the courthouse, and he gets sniped. But when he gets sniped,
Oh shit.
like he dies, but then also he gets sent back in time, and
What
then he like time travels his way back, and it's
the fuck?
and then the same thing happened to Batman. The
Okay.
same exact thing happened to Batman. But so yeah, even watching the light go out of Bruce Wayne's eyes isn't enough sometimes. Dismember him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
All these.
I like how you were just incredibly confused because it's just like, yeah, that's why I stopped reading comic books.
That's so funny. I wanted to point out too that it's interesting too, the parallels between, so apparently we kind of just answered our question from earlier, how we were like how close to Murata's character is was the Gen, how close were the two characters in reality, and apparently he was boastful, and he was like always like very very excited about doing it, according to I believe the accomplice's name was Eiko. I don't know if I can pronounce that. Eiko Yamazaki.
I'll have to look.
It's Eiko.
Oh,
Um, but he is the character of Shimoto in this one. He's the unwilling accomplice how we're going to talk about, but he was the one who later testified in court to convict
yeah,
Sakine and his wife. But yeah, he talks about Sakine being like bragging about everything and like how he's just like he's the perfect killer and that he's never going to get caught because of his method and all of that. Like it's a trip. And then they even have here listed the roles that Murata's even going to bring up right now
mm-hmm.
about that. That's very it's insane
Yeah,
how close to reality this is.
yeah, it really is. I think Eiko would be Aiko,
Aiko, right?
and Aiko, like his wife, is Aiko.
Aiko. Okay, got you.
Aiko. So I think
Yeah.
it'd be Aiko
Aiko.
Yamazaki.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm
Interesting.
not. I am not a authority. I just, watch and play a lot of Japanese shit in Japanese. So
Yeah, no, but yeah, this is interesting how close it is to like you were just saying. It's like it's not even like a Freudian slip. It's just he's just fucking bragging about what
yeah,
he's about to do. It's literally just telling him.
he's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it
Yeah.
all comes down to. It's all just him
Yeah.
being a fucking dick for no
Crazy.
reason.
It's wild though.
And yeah, this is very Benoit. So
Hmm.
Yoshida starts coughing, and he's like, "Oh man, I need some water." And uh, Murata asks Shimoto to get up and get the water, bring it over to
Hmm.
him. He does, and then he's like, "Go away from him, leave him alone." And he's trying to drink the water. He's coughing. He's choking during all of this,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he starts going. They say that one day we all gotta die, and no one knows when it's gonna be. No one knows when that day is gonna come.
But
That's
he
what they
knows.
say. Yeah, but some people do know. I
It's so
know.
fucked
I'm
up.
one of those people. I know how long a man lives and when he dies. I
Yep.
also know where he dies because I arranged that too.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
It's
he's like, I
crazy.
am the fucking band, man. You can't
That's
fucking
funny.
fire me.
We all die today. We all die one day with no exception. He'll die today. That's all.
Hmm. Yeah. And you're right. It's the James Bond speech. That's all it is. It's fucking great. But like this
Yeah.
motherfucker delivers the shit out of those lines, man.
Did you notice too that when they come back up, it's just Shimoto. Susui leaves. So he's
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's not there for this part. So they got the lawyer out of there for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he still has culpability to,
Exactly.
yeah.
Plausible
Plausible
deniability.
plausible deniability. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So obviously he poisoned him with the drink.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, and he's as Yoshida's dying, spewing at this point, like actually dead and dying.
Mm-hmm.
um, he starts telling Shimoto, you like the planetarium, you queer. And he doesn't say queer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's fucked up that like you know what I mean. Obviously, people are like reclaiming that word, but like
Mm,
it's weird when there's like a slur you can use and when you can't. You know what I
for
mean? It's
sure.
it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah, no,
it's
for
it's
sure.
strange, but people get what I mean. I don't want to say the other
Yeah.
one.
And for
Uh,
YouTube, we're not gonna go into
yeah,
it.
yeah. But yeah, so he calls him a very not nice thing and tells him, "You think that the Earth is this blue, beautiful marble, and you love the
Hmm.
planetarium. No planet is smooth and nice. It's an ugly, disgusting pile of rocks. That's all that it is."
Hmm.
And Aiko, his wife, is just sitting there reading a magazine right
It's
behind
fucking
Shimoto. This
crazy.
entire sequence,
Oh
which is
man.
a beautiful juxtaposition.
Oh yeah, yeah.
and and this is where he tells him, after the first few you start to feel numb. This is my 58th. I could be hung for this.
Jesus Christ.
It's wild.
Oh man, I do love that because that kind of points to the reality of it too. Because apparently, they were only convicted for 4.
They were
They were
convicted
only
for
convicted of
4.
4, but they were suspected of way more.
Yeah,
The
they were suspected of at least another 4 or 5 that
mm-hmm,
they think are real.
mm-hmm.
And then, of course, every serial killer, when they get caught, goes, "Yeah, I've killed 450
Yeah, yep,
people."
yep. Yeah, you got to boost your numbers somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the real, I forgot what the real poison was that they used, but
Oh, strychnine.
it was strychnine. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so strychnine literally has that same effect as that. So it was literally dying by asphyxiation because I think it what does it do? It like slows your heart rate. I know that, but it was like it
Yeah,
literally just like closes up
yeah.
your
That
vocal cords and like your throat. It's fucked
that's
up.
exactly what I was gonna say. I think it just
Yeah,
uh
just it fucking chokes you out. Like it's fucked up, man.
yeah,
But yeah, that was
exactly.
crazy how that's it. Yeah, it was 1 to 1 how that worked. Like it's just that's the reality of it, and that's what they actually did. That's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, and that is how they killed the guy that they got financing from
Hmm.
for their dog scheme.
Yeah, yeah. Which
That
this is yeah, that's the guy. That's what he just did. He just financed their fucking fish operation.
yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I love you're exactly right though. The juxtaposition about her, how her demeanor is compared to his, where he's kind of like, well, like I fucking did it, but like I am the fucking man. Like that's kind of how he is, and then she's just in the back like, that's great, sweetie.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And then she just starts handing out gloves, and they're
Yes,
telling
it's
him
time to go to work.
we're gonna do this. You're gonna make a lot of money and have a
Mhm.
nice life with your wife. So shut the fuck up and help us dispose of this body.
Wild, bro. That's such an insane fucking scene. Because right here, you really don't like. At least going into it initially, I had no idea where the fuck this was going. I had no like, I didn't read anything about the synopsis or nothing. I just kind of like went into it, and I was like, I know something is gonna be bad when it happens
Yeah,
with him because it's like I already innately feel scared when he comes on screen, and like I'm like, oh, he's too charismatic, he's too like into this, he's too interested in this family. I was like, this is gonna be bad, I just don't know where it's gonna go.
yeah.
And this shit pops
He
off.
wants them for something.
And then this shit pops off and you're just like, what the fuck? And then yeah, he is just like, all right, no time to think, you gotta fucking hide a body now.
Yep, yep. And then they load it into his car,
Yeah,
and they make him drive about 5 hours away into the countryside.
mountains and shit, it's
Um,
crazy.
because I don't think they specify where the movie is taking place,
Mhm.
but Saitama is like a pretty big city,
Yeah.
so they like, not like Japan's all that large.
Mhm.
And I also don't know like how their speed laws line up to ours. You know what I mean? Like here you
Yeah,
go, oh
yeah.
yeah, it's about 65. You're going 300 miles. It's like 5 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know how to estimate that for them.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, they go pretty far to get rid of this body, and they show up at this weird, like abandoned church.
Yeah,
Um, do you watch The Righteous Gemstones? Have you
yeah.
seen season 3?
No, I haven't. I only saw the
Oh
first two.
man, they have uh, I'm forgetting his name right now, but John Goodman's character,
Oh
obviously the
yeah.
dad, he has a sister who like comes out of the woodwork, and she lives in a place very similar to
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So if
Yeah.
anyone's seen The Righteous Gemstone
That's
season 3,
great.
this church is very similar to
That's so
her
funny.
place. I want to say they call her like Mima or something, but she's not their grandma, so I think that's wrong. They call her like a little nickname.
That's so funny.
But anyway, so really like gross, disgusting, rundown, middle of the woods church with
Yeah.
like Christmas lights and broken statues and all this stuff. And they bring in the body, and there's this interesting little shot of her doing the aerosol flamethrower and just lighting, like they just have hundreds of
All of the candles.
candles.
Yeah. That was cool. That was
Yeah,
cool. I
that
like that.
That was a pretty interesting little sequence, and this everything's like melting onto the table.
Yeah, it didn't
And
read as a chapel to me initially. It just seems like a fucking shed. Like it just looks like
well,
a rundown shack.
I think it's just because there's a giant cross that I
Oh
read,
yeah, no, yeah.
and a lot of like Virgin Mary statues. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why I just read, because there's also like it kind of seems like they go into the part that like the chaplain would have lived in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
You
yeah,
know,
for sure. Yeah,
you
yeah.
like
Because the
they're not in like
bathroom
the
and all that
main.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they're in like the little house behind the church kind of thing.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah. Oh, and there's also a big sign like it. I can't read it obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
there's a big sign that makes it feel like it's like a business or a church,
Okay,
rather
okay.
than just like a hut somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the guys take the body into the bathroom and dump it in there. And after a minute, they kick Shimoto out and they get to work. And
Mommy and daddy are gonna have a private discussion.
they're making all sorts of fucked up comments. They're like, "Oh, he
Yeah,
told me he had a hernia operation. I wonder if we could
yeah,
see it.
yeah, dude.
Hey, while we're here, let's circumcise him."
Oh my God. Yeah, they're fucking disgusting.
And then it's crazy too because it's just like he goes outside and he's by the car. He has his keys. They haven't taken the keys from him or anything.
hmm
And
I know they give him a lot of trust, which is wild, but I mean, it's also one of
he
those things where
just
like, what the fuck is he gonna do?
he just doesn't. I mean, if this was me, I'd get in the car and immediately leave and be like, I mean,
No, yeah, yeah. But
as
I'm just
much as
saying, in
as much as
Murata's
it's
eyes,
as much as it's a cab over here,
yeah.
I am not going to federal prison for a murder I did not commit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
As much as
100%.
it's a cab, it's
Yeah.
also uh MAIBFP. My
Maybe.
ass isn't built for prison.
That's good. That's good.
I had to really do the math there, but
Yeah,
not
no,
not
but I think it more so I think it's like in their eyes, they're like, yeah, he's a pussy, dude. He's not gonna do anything. So like
exactly,
whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. They're like
yeah.
he's so weak, he's so nothing that
hmm
we could give him this opportunity and he won't even do anything.
Yeah.
And also that also just feeds into how powerful Murata thinks he is.
hmm Yeah, because
God.
he's seeing like the instant like the the how do I put this? He's seeing instantly how much like sway he has over this man just by yelling at him,
Hmm.
like barking at him. That's it. And it's just like, yeah, how is he not supposed to fucking let that get to his head immediately with this like type of personality he has?
I like almost wonder in a way, like I don't know, it's like too fantastical to like really come up with how it would even work.
Mm.
But like I wonder if somehow he influenced Mitsuko into stealing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
Like
that's never talked about or discussed. You're actually 100% right. Like, could he have set all of this in motion?
yeah, because he's
There's
got like a weird stake in it, and
yeah,
this is his
yeah.
plan. As soon as he meets this guy, he's like, oh, this guy also sells fish. I can
hmm
say that he's like an expert. I can bring him in
Yeah,
on this
because
deal.
nothing about what happens or his character or anything reads as like anything less than he's manipulative and has been fucking like playing everybody from the minute that he saw them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like has it even been since before that? But
hmm
that wasn't the case in real life, and the
Yeah, yeah.
movie doesn't ever go into it. But it's just kind of interesting to think about,
For sure.
because
Mhm.
it's just so weird how purposeful it is.
Yeah, this is where
And
it definitely got into like fucking Rob Zombie territory.
oh yeah,
This was the Devil's Rejects part.
yeah. There's literally a shot right here that we're about to describe that could just have been from House of a Thousand Corpses.
Literally, yeah. Okay, so it was this one. Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking about. The torso.
Yeah. Oh no, that's in a little while actually. That's the next
Oh,
time.
okay, okay, okay.
That's yeah, because they start to involve him more and more
Yeah,
as it
yeah.
ramps up. But this one, he
hmm
walks in and they just have a bunch of plastic bags filled with like viscera,
Yeah.
and he comes in, and Aiko like has like a little piece of flesh on the ground, and she's just
Mm-hmm.
like grinding it into paste with a knife, like just trying to get it like
uh
atomically separated,
yeah, yeah,
like.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, she tried to split the atom for sure.
But they're both just like absolutely covered in blood, and so is the
Yeah.
bathroom. And he goes, "You know what this is?" and holds up a liver and says, "It's a human foie gras."
That's so fucked.
It's real fucked.
Oh man.
Which is also his way of basically calling that guy uh like fat and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rich and overly, luxuriated and
Yeah.
all of these things, because that's how you get foie gras, is you like overfeed a goose
Yeah.
until it bursts,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Exactly.
fucking crazy. And he forces Shimoto to take a watch, the guy's watch, and he tells him, don't wear it for a year, wait until things calm down. But they're just like playfully implicating him in so many
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. Like when you just see the fucking violence and the gore. The bags are so goopy.
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
and
Oh god
the
damn, dude.
the like cutting board, and they have like this little collection of knives that they use
Yeah,
to.
yeah. And then they separate all the bones and shit too. It's fucked up, man.
It's real fucked up. Um, yeah, and then they clean up, and they make him make them coffee every time they're here.
That
They
was
like
yeah, that was fucking hilarious, dude.
I don't know why it cracks me up so much, but it really fucking does.
That's so funny.
And then they're just teaching him. He becomes like their unwilling apprentice. They're like, okay, now go out there and start a fire, and you got to get it good and hot, and now we're gonna burn down all the bones,
Come here, boy.
and then he keeps throwing soy sauce into it, and I can't tell if that's just him being a twisted weirdo, or if it's like,
An
now.
actual like thing to break
Well,
down like materials or something.
that could be it. I hadn't even thought about
I just
that.
thought of it. I was like, they use like coke to fucking clean blood stains off of the street and shit. So I figured, like, I don't know, there's probably you know, something similar going on in soy sauce that I just wasn't aware of.
It could just be his little, Dexter ritual
Yeah,
that
that's
he
true.
does. But I was also wondering if maybe it was just like because from watching movies like this, they've, I think I've seen a movie where they've like said like, oh yeah, cooking human meat just smells like pork.
Oh yeah,
You,
yeah.
you
Well, that's
know,
yeah. We're the closest thing to pork that it
It-
gets. Like yeah, like anatomically. Yeah.
yeah, or pork is the closest
Like
thing to
our
us,
pork is the
I
thing. Yeah, I
guess.
guess. Yeah, yeah. But flavor
Um,
profile is supposed to be yeah from like things I've read about like yeah like cannibalistic stuff and
from
like we
from what
talked.
Army Hammer posts on his
Exactly.
blog.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And we had the other. We talked about him last time. The Armin. I think his name is Maivis. I might have got it wrong on the episode. But Armin Maivis was the cannibal who sought out the guy on like
Oh
like
yeah, we were
I
just
forgot
talking
what it
about
was.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So the yeah that whole thing, and he describes that the flavor of it and all of that shit. So
Consensual nom consent.
yeah. You fucker.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
That's fantastic. Jesus Christ. You're on goddamn fire
Thank you. Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun with this one because it would hurt if I didn't.
yeah, absolutely. We need the with a teaspoon of sugar.
But that's what I was thinking, was like maybe the soy sauce makes it just smell like someone's like barbecuing or something. You know what I
That could
mean?
also make
Like,
sense. Well, because they said, I think in the wiki they were talking about how they knew not to burn all of the body itself because it was going to obviously attract a smell.
mm.
So
Yeah, because they're
that
just
could
burning the
the bones.
bones.
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
And they burn the bones down to dust, and then they clean the bone dust out of the uh,
The
barrel,
barrel. Yeah.
which is smart, because
Hmm.
honestly, like that still has a bunch of DNA in it and
Yep.
shit.
Exactly. And they would spread that into the forest apparently, and that's a real thing. Literally, all of this
Yes,
shit that they're doing is the real method.
they would go out to the woods. They had a little place there where they would do this, where they would disappear people. They would do all of this horrific shit. And
Yep.
then, so we see them take all the viscera and they
Mm-hmm.
pour it into a river. And literally, and I think this is why they chose fish, to like separate it
To
from the
separate,
real
yeah,
story,
yeah,
because then you get this like additional element of like, he tells them the fish are going to eat it. Like, just
yeah,
pour
yeah,
it all
yeah,
into
yeah.
the river, and
Uh-huh.
the fish are going to eat it. Like.
Whereas, yeah,
But
it's kind of hard to get away with that. With like, yeah, the dogs will take care of it.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
then he like does this thing where he runs while he's pouring the bone ashes on the side of the road, and
yeah.
it's just so weird to see.
It's fucking strange, man. It's at the river that he brings up the rules, right?
I
I
believe
think.
so.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't think it's yet, but yeah, the rules are fucking fascinating when he describes it. And I want to see how close you get to what I'm looking at here with the real ones.
Yeah. Um. So I didn't write them down because I thought they were pretty dead on with that.
Yeah, no, I can read them off for sure, but yeah, when
Uh.
we get there, I'll handle it.
Okay. So this is where he starts berating him for like, you don't love, or do you love your wife, and
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, I love my wife. And he's like, yeah, well, say it like you got some fucking balls then.
Yeah. Yeah, as weirdly enough as it is, it's almost he really is trying to play like a big brother or like a coach to him. Like you're like, grow a fucking backbone, dude.
You know what I very slightly brushed over though is when they're at the house, the
Hmm.
church,
Hmm.
whatever, he basically, Murata tells him, my dad locked me up in here and like
Oh
raped me
yeah,
as a kid,
that's
and
right. Yeah.
so that basically that's why I'm allowed to act this way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember him giving that like explanation. That's right. Because I was like wondering, are they going to go more into that, which they kind of do, if I'm not mistaken. But it really is just one of those like throwaway lines that he just, yeah, that's the reason why I am the way I am. Cool. All right, moving on.
Yeah, and then he just gets up and goes, "All right, back to work.
Literally,
We're,
literally.
we're gonna burn the bones."
Mm-hmm.
And then this is like kind of funny, but obviously it's pretty fucked up too. But he tells him, he's like, "All right, this is what it is. What would you cry if Yoshida died in a car crash? Like, you don't even know him. Why do you care? Go, go get your car, have a beer, go home, act like nothing happened."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and I think he smashes like four beers in the convenience store.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, he's getting fucking plastered.
Yeah. And then he comes home and Taiko's in the shower and he just gets in the shower with her totally dressed, and he's like, "Oh, we got carried away. We were celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
Things aren't good for you because of the way that me and my daughter are. I'm so sorry. I love you."
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because he doesn't know, that they fucked, but obviously she's like, "Oh, this is." I feel like she's like, "This is kind of weird, but I'm not tripping that much because I'm the one with the big secret here. So like, whatever."
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's a good way of reading that. Yeah.
he kind of, by going for her first, Murata kind of like insulated himself from her like having suspicions and stuff.
Interesting.
Now she's just like, "Oh, cool. The
Yeah, she's just
closer,
fully on board.
yeah." She's like, "The
Yeah.
closer they are, the easier it is for us to screw around."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, no shit. You're totally right. Wow, that's fucking genius writing, dude. Like that's insane because I don't think all of this was like again, it couldn't have been just fully one to one. More so in like the actions that they took, but like fleshing out the characters and their relationships and like how Murata would have been again like playing 5D chess with everybody.
Yeah,
It's fucking that's nuts, dude. That's absolutely a testimony to like Sono's writing. That's
yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, and this is where we get the introduction of the driver. So he goes back in to see Murata, and now we have like this young, almost like J-pop looking guy with like dyed, kind of
Yeah.
crazy, messy hair.
Yeah, yeah. Anime protagonist.
Hmm. And this cracks me up because he's so scared, he's so weak the whole movie, and then
Hmm.
he comes in and he's like, "Oh shucks, I know we just did a murder, but I think my daughter needs to come home. There's like no
Shucks.
specific reason," and he's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
they're just like, "No,
Yeah.
she's doing good here."
Yep.
And this is also real life. That the Yoshida counterpart in real life, his brother was in the Yakuza.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
now they start getting calls from the brother telling him, where's my brother? Where's his money? I'm gonna fucking kill you guys.
Hmm.
Like we're coming to see you tomorrow. Don't you
Yeah.
dare run away. And they're all
Yeah,
like,
because
ah,
in the real story, it was Gen who owed money to this guy who was a Yakuza member, right? I want to say
mm-hmm.
that was the whole thing. But yeah, they just kind of like played around with the specifics of it in this one.
Yeah, but he did have like the Yakuza coming
The
after him
connection,
for
yeah, was
one of
absolutely,
these.
yeah, fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's wild. Just I don't know. Just the imagine the stress of living this life in real life.
Oh yeah, dude. That's why the whole thing only took place over the course of like less than a year because it's just so fucking fast paced. Like it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, you got to keep going. Like don't know,
Yeah.
can't stop, won't stop.
Life keeps doing his thing.
Yep.
But it cracks me up. He like tells them that he's gonna bring her home, and they're like, no. And then he
Yeah,
goes to see
yeah.
her, and he's
How
like,
about you go fuck?
yeah, pound dirt. Uh, that I used to not get that expression, but now I get it, and it makes it really funny. Fuck the ground.
The crap.
That's get a dog up you and pound dirt are both like the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. That's amazing.
It's weird how they do this whiplash to him all the time where like she's in the office and she gets that call and she's like trying to play it off, and then they send him out to go see Mitsuko, and then he like physically tries to grab her to take
Hmm.
her out of there, and she won't go with him, and like the other girl starts like physically fighting
Swarming
him
him.
off. And then Aiko comes back and is like, "We need to go. Yoshida's brother is coming. You need to talk to my husband right now."
Hmm.
And they take him upstairs and they give him it's psychological conditioning. That's like truly what it is. They just force him to get his story right.
Oh yeah, they're coaching him. And he was like, "All right, this is what you're gonna
Hmm.
say. This is how we do it."
Yeah, but even more so,
Raises everybody.
them going through that process with him. They're just training him like you're going to be doing this a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
and so as he's leaving after getting his lines right, Susui comes up and is like, "Hey, let me give you a ride home. You didn't bring your car, right? You took the bus." Because I think he like parked his car somewhere so that he could like walk home
Yeah,
smashed.
yeah.
Um, and we get the driver's name El Kubo, and all of a sudden Aiko jumps in the car, and Susui gives this whole villain speech about like he's reckless, he's doing too much, he's going to endanger our money.
Yeah.
Sooner or later he's history. His parents used to own the shop. By the way, I'm fucking his wife. And him and Aiko start like making out.
Yeah. He's like, here, let me show you how.
Yep. Oh yeah, and he just starts like groping her and shit too in
Yeah,
front of him.
literally. Yeah.
Which again, it's just like, have you ever fucked? He just starts like grabbing her titty, and she's just like, "Ah!" And this is like, okay, all right. And then he's not getting the response he
Oh,
wants. So they literally just pull over all of a sudden and he starts beating the shit out of him. And he's like, why don't you fucking answer me? And he's like, I don't know, man. This is just so much.
exactly.
And he's like, you better listen or you'll be the one who becomes invisible.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we're gonna do a coup against him.
Hmm.
And then he brings these two into his shop at home and introduces them to his wife, to Taiko.
Yeah.
And Okubo is like, it's so weird. He's like the most innocent person involved. Like he doesn't seem to know anything about what's like really going on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
God. And then he takes Taiko to the planetarium because that,
That was
apparently
where
used to
they
be their spot.
their spot, yeah.
Yeah.
God, and that part is like pretty sad too. I don't know, like for me, it read was just like, man, he's just making a desperate attempt to like reconnect with her again, you know?
All he wants is for his daughter and his wife to be able to coexist and like,
Hmm.
I don't agree with the implication that and I don't think this movie is making that implication, but some things make the implication of like as a parent, if your partner dies, like what, you're just supposed to be alone forever.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Hmm.
like it sucks and there's a huge difference between like a couple months later you're with somebody or a while later, but it's just
Hmm.
like if I died, I would not want Amanda to spend the rest of her life without anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
that's
get that.
that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
100%. I agree with that.
So all he wants is for the woman he loves and his daughter to get along and to be
Yeah.
able to like, apparently he can share some of his passion with her, but he what really struck me in this scene is like she even talks about like you're so romantic and I've never been with a man like you and all this
Hmm.
stuff,
Hmm.
and he says at the end, he just very plainly just says I love you, and she gives him like this big smile and all this stuff,
Hmm.
but she does not say it back.
Yep. That's
She just
exactly what
she,
that was like, oh man, breaking my fucking heart, bro.
yeah, that was
That was fucking painful, man.
it was, man, that was awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the next day, Yoshida's brother and his Yakuza crew show up, and there's just a heated interrogation going on, basically. And
Yeah,
as
they
they're,
roll up like 40 deep and shit though.
yeah, that's how the Yakuza does it, man.
Yeah. That's
They
fucking
roll up in
crazy.
like 5 or 6 cars,
Yep.
and they just have Shimoto start going through his story,
Hmm.
and he goes through it and they make him do it multiple times and they're like, I don't fucking care how many times you do it, you haven't told me anything. Where did he go? I think you're lying.
Hmm.
And as all of this is happening, Aiko and I think it's the girl that's supposed to be looking after Mitsuko are like playing with these little finger puppets, and then they start like touching up on each other and like making out
Yeah, I was like,
right
what is
outside of the
going on,
door.
dude?
I don't know if the like I feel like the implication is that eventually Mitsuko is going to be their sexual plaything too.
I kind of got that. That's what I was like. That's what I was worried where it was gonna go for the longest time. But then it never actually like went there.
Hmm.
Well, between him at least, but between Murata and the daughter. But like, yeah, that was a concern of mine. Immediately
Yeah,
when he's like, "Yeah, have her come live over here and shit," I was like, "Uh oh."
I sure love troubled girls.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, Drake.
That's good. Oh, that's
It's
funny as shit.
crazy too because like they literally had him sign a contract while he was there, and now
Literally.
and now they're over here saying, "Oh no, we had him sign a different contract, and we gave him 4.5 million yen. We didn't take
Hmm.
money from him. We gave
Hmm.
him millions of yen."
Hmm.
And then he must have just like gone out with some chick and blown all the money, right?
Hmm.
Like that's what it must be. And right on time, Aiko comes busting into the room, and Murata starts crying and being like, "Why are you treating us like this? We're just fish traders. We don't know. We're as puzzled as you are."
Yeah. Then he joins in on the sobbing
Hmm.
and the pleading.
A grown man takes off for a couple of days sometimes, and he might even have secrets he doesn't share with his family. What are
Yeah.
you driving at? Like,
Yeah. So funny. It's the equivalent to you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?
right. And then Susui is like, "Hey, come on, that's going too far." So I think what he was
Hmm.
saying is basically like, what if your brother's gay and just in a bunch of like gay brothels and he doesn't want you to know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I feel like that's kind of the implication. Like, what you don't know everything he's into. Maybe your
Yeah, which
brother's
is why he gets so pissed off.
yeah, maybe your brother's down in a dungeon tied up to a St. Andrew's cross.
Yeah. Oh man. That's
And
so
then
funny.
Susui is like, "Well, okay, we don't have anything left to discuss, so I guess we should end the meeting, right?" And then they just leave, which is kind of crazy. I would have thought they would have just fucking slaughtered everybody, you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
100%.
I guess that's the difference between, even though this is a Scion movie,
Mm.
it feels like you're watching a Mike movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
And
know?
it's funny too, you even say that because like they asked him in the special features of the DVD, or I should say the special feature, it's the only one option you can click. It's so funny. They ask him, they're like, you've been compared to Mike a lot, and like, in your style and your approach and all that. And he's like, I'm a fan of Mike. He's like, in fact, I have dinner with him every once in a while and stuff, and like we hang out.
That's cool.
Uh-huh. And then he was just like, but I don't think he's like, I think beyond just our influences, I don't think that we actually like make the same type of movie, which I'm actually inclined to agree with. I mean, not to take away from Miike, but like Sono's movies are just like more they're thought pieces more than anything.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
heavy on the philosophy and
They
everything.
they often sort of exist in this like parallel world, whereas like
Mm-hmm.
Coldfish just feels like it's happening in the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Mm-hmm.
is a true story, but it doesn't like deviate or get too crazy. Whereas like yeah,
Until the ending.
Suicide Club and Noriko are like it's pretty much our Earth, but it's a different Earth.
Yeah, it's almost like
You know,
another reality like happening beside it. Yeah. Yeah.
there's like some magical reality kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff going on. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, yeah, I get you. It's usually more of like more allegorical. So I think
100%.
that might be why it feels more like a Mike movie because Mike usually
He's
he
abstract, but I think he's more straightforward to the point a lot of the time in his movies.
yeah, exactly. Mike's
Hmm.
yeah. And so this is where the police start getting involved. And this mirrors the real story as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but when we go through it at the end, but I think this is how they caught him. Is they came to the guy that Shimoto like mirrors in real life,
Uh-huh.
and we're like, come on, man, someone needs to fucking flip on this guy.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, and he turned he's a witness for them afterwards. That's why he was testifying against them in court.
Yeah, and that's pretty
Hmm.
much why he survived. Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he just realized, like, after the lawyer was killed, and everything. He was like, "Yeah, they're coming for me, so we need
Hmm.
to."
Hmm. Better save my own ass.
And it's funny too because firmly ACAB, the cops are playing some very dirty pool here.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
come up and talk to him, and then they're like, this is the guy who was doing what you're doing before. Him and his whole family are gone, and oh, there's over 30 missing people surrounding this guy. Even
Yeah.
if he just knows you talk to me, he'll probably make you disappear.
Hmm.
And then he gets like this wry smile that's just kind of like, so now you got to tell us because if you
Hmm.
don't, he's gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it says here that they're definitely it's very similar to what happened because they had already before Kawasaki came to them. He's the Shimoto character. Before he actually came to them, he actually the cops already had been watching Sakine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they had already there was rumors surrounding him, being at the center of all these investigations already. And so all they needed was Kawasaki's like testimony to like put the nail in the coffin essentially.
Mm.
So yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Eventually, someone flips. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
you can't even have like a five-person conspiracy. So the
No.
whole like
That's too many fucking factors.
we have living aliens at Area 51. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like that. There's
That's
there's
funny.
not there's not any chance you could get that many people to keep a secret.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So Aiko goes with Susui as he leaves, and Okubo. They go to some little shack or house or whatever, and Susui and Aiko are having sex, and Susui comes out and is like, "Okubo, come in here. She wants you to watch," and just makes him, you know,
They cuck him out in the fucking like
pretty
it's
much,
so funny.
pretty much. But he seems weirdly into it.
Yeah, he just goes down and sits down all proper. He's like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
You can start.
yeah. I'm watching. Um, and then we get like a charged phone call between the fish store owners,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
basically Murata is just screaming at him and being like, "How dare you? You better fucking tell me!" And he has no idea what he's talking about. And he makes him come get him. Jumps in the car. He's like choking him while he's driving and hitting the back of his headrest. And the cops start following them, and he's like, you need to lose them, and he makes a crazy ass turn and
Yep.
just barely gets out of there. And they go over to Susui's house, and when they get there, there's a bunch of those bottles on the ground, and Susui is just dead with his dick hard. You know how I hope to go.
He died as he lived.
And he came as he left. And then they start trying to like revive him. They're playing along, and they say that
God,
they
yeah, that's so fucking disturbing, man.
they said that they called an ambulance, and Okubo starts to freak out. He's like, "You said you called, like, where are they?" And he goes for the phone, and they take it away from him.
Mhm.
And so they start struggling with him, and they start choking him to death with a phone wire.
Yeah.
The poor man's garrote. It's
Yeah.
crazy. They like team up to kill him, so they like each take part of the wire, and they're on opposite sides of him pulling, and they just choke him to death.
Dude, that shit like in tandem fucking killing a man. That shit is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So
It's such a
so
good scene though.
so she poisoned him, and then brought that dude in there so that they would have like deniability, and then they poisoned him too.
Mhm.
In real life, that this happened, but
Oh, I didn't read
the
about this one.
the strychnine didn't react with his system.
Oh, crazy.
So for some reason that's why he seems so like confused and like weird
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they come back,
yeah.
cuz like the strychnine was like partially working, but it wasn't killing him. So like he was having like neurological effects.
Oh, okay, okay, that makes
And
sense.
and so that's what they did in real life. They told this guy like we called the ambulance, we called the ambulance, and then he's just like hella confused and
Hmm.
kind of lucid, and he's like, "What's going on? Like, why aren't they
Yeah,
here?" And
yeah.
so they just ended up murdering him.
Ugh, that's fucking wild, dude.
So they wrap these two bodies up, and they get ready to transport them down to the Love Shack. Love Shack.
I love Shaq, baby.
Yeah, that one's crazy because.
Oh man.
And then there's also this weird thing where he's like, "You want to drink some of this bottle?" And then
Hmm.
Murata downs it, and he's like, "There's no poison in there." So it's just like,
That was fucking weird. I didn't understand that. I was like, wait, what? So does that mean that it wasn't strychnine or what? You know what I mean? Like that was just a strange fucking turn. I thought he was just gonna go down, or he was just demonstrating, look, this is how baller I am. I don't fucking even feel this shit.
um.
What are you looking up?
So you can build. It is possible, like in Princess Bride,
Oh,
to.
okay, like to build up a tolerance for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
okay. And there is. I'm seeing now like medical papers acquired strychnine tolerance. So that is.
Oh wow,
So that is
shit. So
apparently.
it is just him flexing then.
It is just him flexing. Yes, it's
That's
just it's
fucked up, dude.
it's just him fucking with him, because he's like,
Damn, dude.
because part of him's like, wouldn't it be funny if he drank this, and then like we had to, what I mean? Like, I'll get another guy if I get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, yeah. That's fucking crazy, dude. I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah. So they take him up to the shack. They bring them both in there, and they get ready to do the slaughter again. Um, and they tell Shiboto to just like go rest. And before he went into the fish store, he calls Taiko and
Hmm.
tells her to, if he doesn't come home or she doesn't hear from him, to call the number on the card in his
Hmm.
car, and that's the police's card.
Yep.
And then the couple starts making jokes about him fucking her fucking Susui. And he's like,
Yeah.
how big was his dick? Oh, just a little bit bigger than yours. And he's like, well, he told me he had stamina. How many times could he do it? And
Jesus Christ.
she said, I think I'll leave it to your imagination.
Jesus.
And there's just this
Oh
strange
man,
sense of like,
it's so playful and like childlike. It's so fucked, dude.
it's so weird. Like
Oh man.
I was just with my coworkers Friday, like celebrating.
Yeah.
And so my boss like took us out to a bar and stuff. And one of my coworkers' wives works in the city, so
Hmm.
she came over there as well. And this the guy who's married, this like Asian girl was talking to him at the bar, like he was separated from his wife, and she was like being really flirty with him and stuff. And then he walks up to his wife and he's like, "Damn, babe, you see that like that Asian girl? She was all up on my line." And she's like, "Oh, damn, good job, babe," blah, blah, and all this stuff. And it's just like it kind of sounds like that of these two. Like they have like
The vibe.
they're just in a comfortable relationship, and like because like people hit on you when like they
Yeah.
don't care about your circumstances. And
So we saw you from across the bar and really dig your vibe.
yeah, pretty much. It's just that like sort of security of being like, oh yeah, this girl was hitting on me, but I just want to tell you because I want,
Yeah.
that you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, oh, cool, thanks for telling me, like
Yeah, yep.
I know you're on the level, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of the conversation between these two.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
God. And so he brings in their coffee, and they tell him that next time they might not be available, so he might have to do all of this alone. So he needs to watch because he's going to be their apprentice.
Hmm.
He needs to learn how to make a human invisible.
So did he go over the rules yet or
I don't think so. So
okay.
if you want to talk about his
So
rules,
yeah, I'll just because I just don't want us to miss it because it's so fucking interesting. So he kind of like goes into this like philosophy of like these five sets of rules that he has, but like Yamazaki, the Shimoto character, tells the court that Sakine had 5 sets of rules, which he called his murder philosophy. First one was kill those who are not good for the world. The second one was do not kill for insurance purposes, as you will get caught, which is interesting. Um, the
Oh
third one,
yeah.
kill the greedy. Four was it is important to not shed blood. Five, the most important thing is to make the body disappear, which I don't know
Mhm.
how you're gonna do five without the fourth one.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. I think they just mean like Dexter, you know.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Don't leave a mess.
yeah, for sure.
There's a little statement they make here because they hold up like literally she holds up his dick
Hmm. Hmm.
like while they're talking. She's like, "I'll take care of his penis," and
Yeah.
then Murata grabs it and he goes something along the lines of like, "This motherfucker even put a pearl on his dick," and like throws it down.
Yeah.
And so I was just curious. I was like, "Is that a phrase?" So pearling is a trend that the Yakuza are said to have been practicing for
Really?
years
What the fuck?
that is said to help men have better sex or rather become better lovers and give greater pleasure to their partners.
Oh, are we talking implants?
I think it is.
Oh shit, crazy.
It says pearling consists of surgically inserting pearls
Yeah.
or other objects into the penis to
Yeah.
stimulate women more.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's like, yeah, that's like implants and stuff. People get like ridges on that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yep.
It's fucking oh Jesus Christ. That is intense, man. And I'm all for body mods, clearly.
Yeah. No,
But hell motherfucking no.
yeah, I'm all for people's rights to do that kind of stuff, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
that. Whew.
You do you, boo boo over there.
What's the use of putting pearls on the penis? The main purpose of pearling is not to make the penis look aesthetic. Oh, okay. It focuses solely on increasing pleasure.
I love-
The Yakuza say they belong to an organization of gentlemen, and that is why they resort to this technique, which focuses on female pleasure.
That's wild, dude.
But with the Yakuza, the pearling also
Your
signifies
face.
years spent in prison. Each pearl is said to symbolize a year.
Oh, what the fuck? That's crazy, man. It's like just use a marker and the wall. What the fuck are we doing here?
Later, the technique traveled to the US, first in prisons, and little by little became relatively popular among the brave.
Woo.
The technique is now also popular in Cuba, the Philippines, Rio de Janeiro, and other cities around the
Wow, they went
world.
global with it.
Yeah, so this is a GQ article from 2022. So just so you know
Fucking
that this isn't like an old trend that went away. This is happening right now.
that's fucking nuts, dude. Oh, that's so funny. That's yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
I didn't even catch the line of dialogue, so I'm glad you even brought it up. That's fucking crazy.
I just thought it was a weird thing to have said, and I didn't
Yeah,
know if it like
yeah.
meant you know what I mean? If
Like a
it's just
piercing or something. Like I just thought it was like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, or if it's just like a phrase, you know, like oh that guy puts a pearl on his dick, you know,
Yeah.
it's like oh yeah, no, he thinks his dick is like the most important thing to the point where he like buys it gifts or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, 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 for sure.
a lot can in
I'm looking for
English
context here, man.
in English, we have a lot of strange phrases. You start trying to translate from another language to ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a
Like
lot of shit gets lost in the weeds for sure.
it sure fucking does. Um, so they destroy the two bodies. They burn all the clothes. They burn all the bones and everything, and they find themselves back on that little cement bridge where they throw all the viscera to the fish.
Hmm.
And they make Shimono do it. So you're making the fish happy, they say.
That
Um,
was so funny.
and so he makes him do it, and he says, "You pretend to be righteous. I hate your kind the most. You know the reason why you left Mitsuko with me. Um, Simple. You wanted to screw your pretty young wife."
Hmm.
You know, like you just tell him you're just as bad as me. You think you're
Mhm.
like anything special, and he keeps talking shit, and he tells him to hit him, you know, Tyler Durden style.
Yeah.
And then he tells him, I fucked your wife, and she's a screamer too.
Hmm.
And literally, Shimoto's hitting him and hurting his hand more than he's hurting Murata.
Yep.
And Murata just starts beating the shit out of him. And they tell him, they tell him to fuck Aiko. They're
Hmm.
like, they're like, come on, this is your reward. You've earned this. Fuck my wife. Fuck my wife. And they rape him together.
Yeah.
Like he's Murata's behind him, making him thrust
Yeah.
into Aiko.
Yeah.
And
For those who've seen Midsummer, might that
mhm,
visual might look familiar.
yeah, exactly. So this is not supposed to be a team exercise.
Yeah.
Uh,
God damn
and
it.
and then it's funny because this is where it just becomes like it's something he could have just done at any time, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yep.
it
Yep.
but it takes that like extreme,
Hmm.
and he
Pushed right over the edge.
yeah, he reaches over, and I don't remember where he grabs it from, but he gets a pen and he stabs her in the fucking throat,
Yeah,
and
dude.
then starts stabbing the shit out of her
Yeah, the
husband.
ever living fuck out of that man. Yeah, he just ventilates him with a pen.
Yep, and the whole time he keeps screaming, it hurts,"
Yeah, that
and
was funny as fuck.
and Aiko's just like laughing hysterically. And this shot where she's in the trunk and she sits up, which is like so insane after she got
Hmm.
stabbed like that. She
Hmm.
sits up and she's just like laughing hysterically, and we have this like 45-degree kind of
Yeah,
shot,
yeah,
and it's backing up, and the car is shaking. I
it's
was like,
fucking crazy, dude.
I was sitting there like, man, is this gonna be the end of the movie? You know, is this how it's gonna finish?
Yeah, because that would have been a wild ass ending if you just fucking dropped it there. I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been mad.
I thought, you know what I mean? Like that kind of feels like the point.
Hmm.
You twisted him so much he became you,
Yeah,
you know?
which they're
And
gonna kind of just further cement into these next couple of minutes.
yeah, while he's stabbing him too, he keeps saying it hurts, and it just reminds me. I reference this so much, but you know, it's like an early episode of Family Guy where a guy that Joe sent to jail
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
Al.
Is that what I've been doing to people?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. He pokes himself in the fucking finger with the knife. He's like, "Oh my god, I deserve to be in here."
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's 100% the vibes that he was giving. Like it hurts, it hurts.
and then he starts like regressing, and I guess this proves that there was some truth, at least in the
Oh
movie
yeah, I forgot
version.
about that. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're 100% right. Yeah,
Yeah, because he starts being like, "Dad, no, it
Dad. No,
hurts.
yeah,
Stop,
yeah,
Mom, help me," and
yeah.
all this stuff. Um, and they take him into the house, and Shimoto still he doesn't have it in him to actually do the killing.
Mm-hmm.
So he makes her finish him off, and she goes and grabs like a little CRT television and bashes his
Just
fucking head
fucks
in
his
with
ass
it.
up, dude. Yeah.
That shit was fucking crazy,
Yeah, dude,
dude.
the effects on this are fucking fantastic, dude. That's
I'll
the
tell you
thing.
this, he didn't see the TV glow.
Good job.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
Thanks. That
Absolutely.
was timely, right?
That was good. No, yeah, that shit was fucking great. Like again, the effects in this are fantastic. We the practical on these were just again, you can almost
Oh
like
yeah.
it's hard to see the seams. You know what I mean? Like, because they're just hidden so fucking well. Like underneath all that blood.
It's so weird because right here, you know, I feel like this might actually be like a weak point of the movie now that I realize it.
Mm,
There's sort of like a like he almost seems like he's still in control
mhm.
for a second because he like grabs her, he takes her in there, she takes the body, he gives her all the knives, he's like make him invisible. He says, "I'm the new Murata
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
my woman now.
Hmm.
You hear me?" And she's just like, "Okay, yeah." And then we cut to him frantically washing all the blood off himself, which to me said like he was just putting on this facade so that
Mhm.
she would listen to him and
Yeah,
you know
I felt the same way when I was like, wait, what? Like, is this you regretting your decision? What the fuck is going on?
it kind of
Yeah.
seemed like he was bluffing. Like I thought that's what it was going to be.
Oh,
Was he was like going to leave and then
that's interesting.
go get his daughter and go maybe get the police and be like, look, they're up there and she's disposing of a fucking body right
That
now.
would
You
have,
know?
yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I didn't think my mind went there too initially when I was watching because I was like, oh, is that where we're about to go? Is he about to just like, turn her in and,
Yeah,
go out?
exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so he puts on like new clothes, and he has a white dress shirt, and he's not wearing his glasses anymore. And before he had always worn like more casual clothing, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
definitely showing a rebirth or a transformation.
Yep.
And he goes into the store, goes and grabs her, slaps her, so she just like falls over and takes her
Yeah.
out, starts pushing her coworkers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
he just mows through that fucking store with her.
then he goes with her to his home and kicks her out of the fucking car, like physically kicks her,
Yeah.
and then threatens Taiko with violence until she makes the family dinner for them
Mm-hmm.
that she made before. And then the boyfriend shows up, and so it's like the same scene, but he's a huge asshole this time.
Mm-hmm.
He's threatening everybody, all this stuff. She gets
Yeah.
the call, and he's like, "Fucking listen to me, shut up," all this stuff, and she won't. So she goes outside. He walks out, and it's almost like a wrestling move. He like throws her
Yeah.
face
Yeah.
first into the car, and she just bounces. And
Yeah.
then he just starts beating the shit out of her boyfriend and fucking knocks him out
Yeah.
and then just drags her unconscious body back into the house.
Thought he was gonna kill him.
I thought so too. I thought he was about to kill all fucking
Literally,
three of them,
I thought we were just gonna get the ending of Visitor Q.
right?
Like that's that's
It gets kind of
yeah. I
close.
was just saying, yeah, we get very, but I thought like sooner. I mean, you know what I mean? And, like, and
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
say yeah, like literally everybody can get
Yeah.
it.
No, totally. Well, I just mean because what I'm about to say is very
No,
Visitor
yeah, that's
Q.
what I mean. You're literally about to say it for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he goes and sits down and keeps eating and then starts his knocked out daughter is in the room on the floor
this is fucked up, man.
and he starts telling Tycho like, "Yeah, you fucked him, didn't you?
This is
Like
fucked up.
marrying you was a mistake, like you're a whore, all this stuff." And then
Yeah,
he just literally fucking starts raping her on the floor next to his daughter
Jesus Christ. And
and
then she fucking wakes up.
yeah, she wakes up
Oh, dude,
and
that's
he
so fucked.
knocks her out again.
just just punches the shit out of her. It's so fucking, it's graphic, dude. This is a fucking graphic ass scene.
It's crazy to me because like I often see when I like start trying to find resources for these movies to like look into the backstories and things like that.
Yeah.
I'll often find someone who will say something like, for this movie, somebody was like, I was really on board with the protagonist for most of the movie, and then all of a sudden, when he starts to like get his power back, he's gonna like rape his wife in front of his daughter and then knock her out in the middle.
Mhm.
Like, who is that? Who's supposed to relate with that? And like all this stuff. Like, what a bad movie. And I'm just like, yeah, hi. You don't have to relate with people in
Yeah.
every single movie. The point is that like this guy's evil is so all encompassing. It
Yeah.
infected this other man and it
Hmm.
ruined all these lives and
Yep.
like
Evil
the
trauma
trick
begets trauma begets trauma, but
yeah,
yeah.
the trickle down of pain and
Hmm.
evil and trauma,
Hmm.
it just never fucking it never ends.
And I want to say it wasn't I forget, but one of them is Sono's wife, I believe.
One of the actors?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I want to say, and I believe that's her. I believe that is actually her because it was things I was reading where they're like, yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks that he keeps putting his wife in these situations where she's getting raped in his movies because she's been in multiple of his movies. And so I was like,
And
wow,
been
that's
raped in
interesting.
multiple of them,
Yeah, and
huh?
raped in multiple ones, and it's fucked up, like very fucked up. But I mean, yeah,
Damn.
like that's also like I mean, it's a good place to kind of put it here too. There, we're also well aware of the allegations that were made towards Sono in 22, aren't we?
Oh, that's right. I had
Yeah,
forgotten
yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So but it's really muddy because apparently with one of the victims that came forward, they had settled the course the case out of court, and they had actually gotten him to, or gotten her, I believe, to remove videos addressing the allegations or something like that. I forgot what it was, but it's a real weird, like, area to go. But definitely, I mean, it's not, it's a weird spotlight to put on him because of the content of his movies sometimes. So like I get what people would look like side-eyed at it.
Hmm.
I get it. It's not like I don't know the truth of any of this, or because they were literally, he was never convicted on them, so they just are allegations. So I don't know, what happened there ultimately. But yeah, people were definitely not happy to see him doing this with his wife over and over.
Yeah, yeah, that is pretty crazy. Because
Mhm.
yeah, there were allegations, and from what I understand, he has like admitted and apologized.
He admitted and
Um,
apologized for he said it in particular too. He's like, I'm sorry if I offended anybody with my filmmaking and like in the process of making my films. That's what I'm sorry about. But he denies the sexual assault allegations.
oh, okay, yeah,
Hmm.
it says that he's accused of trading sex for roles, which
Hmm.
I mean, his wife's been in 7 of his movies, man. Like, kind of gotcha.
Yeah.
Dead to right. You were
Yeah.
supposed to laugh there because that was supposed to be funny, and now it's just like it's dark. It's
It's sad,
it's
man.
more
I don't
dark.
want to fucking laugh right now. It's fucking sad, man. I don't know how to feel. But it, like, okay, like, let's say these things were true. We're talking about the ultimate separating the art from artist shit right now.
Yeah, I will say this just because I have it up right now.
Mhm.
An actress, Shukan Jose. Oh no, another actress told Shukan Jose that Sono told her, "I want to screw you while you're talking to your boyfriend on the phone." And she told him she didn't have a boyfriend, and he said, "Get one. I like that kind of thing."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Yeah, it's difficult. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
It is for sure. But I mean, hey, man, art from the artist and all.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. There's I really love one Woody Allen movie, so it's
Yeah.
it's Midnight in Paris.
Yeah. And it's hard to defend a man when you look up his like character, or you look up his credits, immediately he's just seen wearing a fedora.
Yeah, right. Like, god damn it, dude. This is a really interesting part because it goes to show that like you could only he could do what he was doing.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
he even like makes it seem like his wife knows how to do everything, but on his way back, um, Shimoto calls the police and is like, "I'm going up to the shack. He's dead, and she's dismembering his body right now."
Hmm.
And the cops like jump into action, and when he shows up, there's just like a mess out front. She's like burning skin instead of
Hmm.
bones. She's got like the viscera all over the place and it's
Yeah.
not cut correctly and all these things. And he walks in and this is where we see the like House of a Thousand Corpses, half of a torso,
Yeah.
um, which is pretty sick.
Hmm.
Uh,
That shit is
and
hard, dude. It looks really good.
and she gets ready to go down on him
Yeah.
in the middle of all of this,
That's
and
wild, man.
he hits her twice with
Yeah.
this big Virgin Mary statue in the head,
Yeah, dude, that shit was fucking crazy.
and her head starts bleeding. And then she tries. He like slips, and she starts trying to fuck him, and
Hmm.
then he starts trying to hurt her, and then they start fighting over the knives that are on the ground and like slipping all over the place.
Hmm.
And then she cuts him a little bit and then starts making out with him, and he takes the knife and just jams it into her ribs, I believe,
Christ,
and
that shit is
just
fucked up.
takes her the fuck out.
This reminded me of Trouble Every Day with like
Oh yeah.
how violent and weirdly like almost like it's really sad to watch too. Like it's just a fucking it's a very interesting and complex scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she goes and cuddles the what's left of her husband's corpse with all these knives sticking out
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
fucking crazy.
And
The human pincushion.
the detectives show up having picked his family up, I guess because they just want to make sure that they're safe. And the
Yeah.
detectives go inside to check out the crime scene, and Tycho runs up to hug him, which is kind of crazy after he just raped her and everything.
Hmm.
But everyone's brains are fucked up after all they've been through in like the 1 week this movie's taken place over.
Literally. Yeah, it does take place in like a week.
And as she runs up, she stops in this awkward way and
Mm-hmm.
slumps over, and he's holding a knife. So he just jammed the knife into her
Mm-hmm.
chest. And then he decides to go after his daughter, and he just gives her all these like little tiny pokes with the knife, which is like kind of hilarious. Like
Yeah.
it kind of seems like she's being stabbed, but like there's nothing on her jacket, and I just feel like Sion's a better filmmaker than to literally just have someone get stabbed and not show anything.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
he's
yeah.
literally just poking her with the
He's just
fucking
poking her,
knife,
yeah. Yeah.
and he screams in her face that life is pain, and he's just trying to keep her from having to experience that pain.
Yeah, that's fucked. At first I was like,
Li-
"Amen, brother."
Life is pain. Living your life hurts.
Hmm.
And then in a movie that's like had such great effects up until now, we just get some like dog shit throat slitting CGI.
Yeah. I did catch that towards the end. I was a little disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is, I
Yeah.
guess. But
Yeah. For
I mean,
sure.
shit, they've spent a lot of money on that half of a torso prosthetic,
Hmm. Hmm.
And then this is the most fucked up part of the entire thing. She looks down over his corpse, and she like makes sure he's actually dead, and then she just starts laughing at him.
Yeah. Yep.
Now you're dead, you stupid old man. And we are treated to the movie is bookended by images of the earth in space.
Hmm.
So we're treated to that image again. And I saw someone online say, I think the movie starts and ends that way because the question is like, is the earth a beautiful place?
Hmm. Well,
Or
yeah,
is
because I
or
think
is
that
it
was kind
just
of
a or is it just a rock?
yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. That's kind of what he was referring to earlier when he was just like, oh, the planets aren't all just like pretty and this and that, and like when he was going off and yelling at him. But I think yeah, that like image is just so strange on
Mm-hmm.
first viewing, but like pretty poetic on a second viewing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty succinct like way to end the movie. Like
Yeah.
because like you were saying, like it's the thing like the his evil was so powerful and just so engulfing or encompassing, you know what I mean? It was just so it just it ate everything around it. It was just like he was just such a force of nature that was just like a complete like fucking tornado that just came in and just wrecked everything. And like to the credit of the movie too, it takes place in like I think it was probably a week or two, probably in the actual framing of it. But like we said, it's only like well, I don't even know how many months, but it was only a couple of months within that year that this all actually took place.
Mm-hmm.
And so it feels like real quick, real fucking like in and out, and like four people are dead or maybe more.
Yeah. So in real life, the victims, the first one was Akio Kawasaki,
Hmm.
who was his brother was telling him that like dog breeding is a good business to get into.
Yeah.
So he bought two Rhodesian Ridgebacks for
Wow.
11 million yen. And then he found out later that they weren't going to be able to breed. They were too old and unsuited. Um,
That's what it was. They were too old. They weren't sick, you know.
so he went, yeah, exactly. So he went back
Mm.
and demanded a refund, and so they killed him instead of giving the money back.
Yeah.
And he was served a drink laced with cyanide, and that's what killed him. So that's why they have
Hmm.
the drinks and everything.
Hmm.
Um, when Yamazaki, that's Eiko, the Shimoto character,
Yeah.
returned to the garage, Sakine showed him the body and threatened to kill him if he ratted him out. He then started dismembering the body and ordered Yamazaki to dispose of his car in Tokyo. The scene was staged to make it look as if he had disappeared. So that's where it started,
Hmm.
at least as far as his involvement.
Yeah, exactly. Where he came in the story.
Yeah, at least as far as Yamazaki goes.
Hmm.
And then there's Yasutoshi Endo and Susumu Wakui. They were the leader of Yasutoshi was the leader of a criminal group and acted as the supervisor of Sakine and was a customer of the Africa Kennel. So it kind of
Okay,
sounds
so
like
yeah.
this is the guy that he paid for protection.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah, because it says right there it was Endo began to extort him for a large amount of money.
exactly. So this
Yeah.
guy this guy was asking for protection,
Hmm.
and so they were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna kill you."
Yep.
And then they killed his chauffeur as well. And so this is where the whole thing happened. Where
With
yeah,
the family coming back, right?
well, no, I just mean where Wakui somehow resisted the effects of the strychnine.
Oh, yeah, 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 that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so he fed the first one cyanide, and then these two they fed strychnine.
Strychnine. Yeah.
Yeah, um,
Refining their process.
yeah, yep, it's crazy. And so they
Hmm.
dismembered them and got rid of them. And then Mitsue Sekaguchi, a housewife from Gyota, who began an affair with Sakine when her second son started working at the Africa Kennel.
Interesting. So that's like the flip that they did for the movie.
Yeah, so that's like Taiko and Mitsuko and everything.
Hmm.
So it's crazy how much of this is like pulled
It's
from,
nuts,
you
dude.
know what I mean?
It's nuts. Yeah, and even like, oh god, yeah, even this one, the fucking harrowing detail. But unlike them, he committed sexual acts on the corpse before doing so, before dismembering him,
Yep,
before dismembering her.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he also another parallel. He pleaded with her to become a shareholder and invest in the business.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Um,
Fuck, that's wild, dude. It's scarily close to the actual like story. It's wild.
Yeah, it's very strange
So fucked.
how well of how good of a job they did like untangling this and turning it into because you can't often you can't just tell a story start to end exactly how it happened
Yeah.
and like real stories don't have narrative structure to them,
Mm-hmm.
so you
Mm-hmm.
need to put a structure in so that it
Yeah.
becomes an actual movie.
Yeah.
Because like there's not always four inciting incidents before you do something.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody just fucking snaps and does something, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just not how like storytelling fiction
Yeah,
works.
exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, that's crazy how he the like you were saying the whole dismembering of that and like how the processes of all that, like all of it is so one to one. And Sono, in the interview that I watched, he talks about having actually talked to witnesses of the actual crime. So he like did investigating himself. It's
That's
fucking
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, he talked to like actual people who were involved to like make all of this like as accurate as possible, but like still within the realm of this is my movie, you know? It's nuts, man.
Yeah,
Fucking crazy.
yeah.
that's
It's
that's
it's
so fucking wild, man.
yeah. I thought it was a very interesting approach to storytelling and a very
Yeah.
interesting structured film, and it's really just a battle between two men, but it's like one of them
Yeah.
has no power until suddenly he does, and then he
Hmm.
does a bunch of horrible things, and then it's like he just doesn't even want to live anymore. But then also, like, I feel like he killed Taiko out of sympathy because her life was
Hmm.
ruined. She said a few times that her life was ruined by all of this and she'll never have another chance, and this is all,
Hmm.
you know, it's already fucking done, so
Yeah.
whatever. And so he's
Kind
like,
of
okay.
leads that kind of leads into like actual testimonies from people like family annihilators, how they have that like reasoning where the kids because they failed, as mostly it's the patriarch of the family, mostly the patriarch is feels like a failure in some aspect or way, and completely pushes or like projects all of that guilt and shame onto the family, and being like, well, the family's connected to me, and I've, embarrassed all of us, or I've shamed all of us so much so that they don't get another chance at everything. It's all done. It's all set in stone now, and it has to be this way where I have to kill them. So that like that kind of like goes back into this. It's just an insane fucking point of view.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, dude. But I mean, yeah. Do you want to get into the ratings now?
Yeah, there's not very much trivia available about this one that's like easy to find. It's pretty much
Yeah,
all just like, hey, look up this case, and
the
isn't it
case.
crazy
Yeah,
how
the case really was the trivia, I think, in this case.
reading a little review here that said Film Business Asia gave Cold Fish an 8 out of 10, praising Den Den, without whose tour de
Yeah,
force performance Cold Fish may never have worked. And I agree so
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. No, it doesn't work without his character like being the way that he like played that specific way. I
Yeah.
really, yeah. Fuck it. I'll get into my rating. Yeah, like
Well,
he
well,
is.
hold on, real quick, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
just to
No, for
finish this
sure.
spot, because it's just another piece of the same review. Though there's considerable gore on display, it's largely cartoonish. Coldfish is
Hmm.
not so much a blood and guts horror movie, more a dance macabre about social breakdown.
Wow.
Because it's not like there's a few really 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 fucked up scenes, but
Hmm.
like they're kind of few and far between,
And it's
and it's
less of the point.
yeah, it's more
Yeah,
just about the icky feelings where like yeah, about like
yeah.
40 minutes into the movie, I was like, man, I remembered it being a little more messed up. Maybe it's more tame than no,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're rating, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I think because you like what you exactly just said, like revisiting this a second time, I was laughing my ass off, dude. It is so funny. It is a very humorous movie because of the fact that that guy knows, like Dinda knows how to fucking play a psychopath so well. He knows how to play like the charismatic, loving, like, or
Hmm.
appearingly loving cult leader, and like bringing that into it. So it's like all of this like charisma is just so palpable on screen, and it makes you like love him. You're like, I'm fucking terrified of you, but I'll watch this all day. Like, I can
Yeah.
absolutely be here for hours. Um, that mixed with, like you were saying, like the violence and everything is few and far between. It is not mainly the point, but when it hits really fucking hard.
Yeah, it's
and
intense.
and the fucking effects are insanely good. They're so good on this movie. Like very, very icky, gooey, but it's also like it's like you like they were saying cartoonish is really, but like I would argue it's more grounded in reality than anything, because like it like kind of looks like when you open up a pig, or and any other animal, it kind of would look like that. So it's very much based in reality, or a form of it.
Yeah.
um but yeah, ultimately I would like, I definitely would revisit this if someone hadn't seen it and was just like, do you want to watch a good movie? I wouldn't even say like a horror movie or whatever. I would just say this is a good ass movie. because like we were saying, it's the writing, and it's like how he was able to tie very real events to fictional characters, and then like blend those two very seamlessly, and very it was all coherent. It never felt like it was like, oh, that's too far out of the realm of possibility for reality.
Yeah.
And then you go and read the case, you're like, oh fuck. Like, it is one of those things where you're just kind of like, you have to double take. But I love this movie. I think, yeah, on the second watch it definitely had a lot more appreciation there. uh, I would probably give this a 5.5 out of 6. I love this fucking movie. Like, I genuinely love this movie. And
Yeah.
yeah, and Murata is a fucking terrifying, antagonist, but god damn it if I didn't fall in love with him halfway through.
Yeah, right. Yep. Man, I just wish he wasn't a sex pest.
Yeah, for sure.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I wanna get I really want to give it like uh, a 6 out of 6, but
Mhm.
honestly, I'm having a hard time just knowing that he's a fucking sex pest.
It's yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's one of those things where like I don't know the reality of the situation. I don't know, to what extent was going on, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility either to believe that a director would be that way with like, young actresses who are trying to just make a name for themselves. He's an established guy, power and all that shit, equals shittiness sometimes,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
shitty shit bags in a shit bag.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, but I agree. It's very, we don't know how to feel, but I mean, about the movie, I know how I do feel.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I mean, the movie on its own, 6 out of 6.
Yeah, yeah.
Having to think about Sono Sion being an actual shitty person, it goes down considerably. But
Yeah,
just looking at the movie on its own,
yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. Yeah, reading about it definitely gives you like a weird feeling in the back of your throat when you're reading more and more details into it.
Hmm.
But, hey, hopefully he just likes fedoras, and that's as far as that goes.
Right, right. Hopefully, it starts and ends with fedoras, and he's not also a brony.
Yeah.
God, I could see it though, and I hate that. I hate that that's true.
That's
I
hilarious.
really, really do.
What did we say about yucking yums, goddammit?
It's okay when we're talking about bronies.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's
so
funny.
we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let you guys stew in it.
Yeah.
We do drop a new episode every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a series we call the Icky Quickies lately, and dropping
Mm-hmm.
those on some off weeks, talking about some more contemporary
Yeah. Yeah.
movies.
These are our more
Um,
recent films that come out. We like to kind of get in the conversation every now and then, because I mean, there's some fucking bang. Go listen to the
there's a lot of good
episodes.
movies coming out this year.
Our In a Violent Nature episode was just so much fun to talk about and like
Hmm.
dissect that movie. It made me want to go watch it again too. So yeah, I'd recommend go checking those out. Go check out the YouTube again. Can't stress
Yes.
that enough.
Yeah, yeah,
Go and check
we
us
don't
out.
have a YouTube link yet. You have to get a certain number of followers and views before you can do that. But please just search the Devil's Work podcast on
I think I
YouTube.
have us linked in there. I think
Oh, do we?
it'll probably be linked by the time. Yeah, by the time this
Oh,
goes.
okay, okay. So you have a link in the thing. Okay,
I think so.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so you can
Just
find the
click
link
the
in
link,
our
dog.
in our info. Yeah, easy, easy.
Sick.
Um, and then you can find us on TikTok at the Devil's Work Podcast, on Facebook at the Devil's Work Podcast, Instagram the Devil's Work Pod, and you can reach out to us at the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com to
Yep.
yuck some yums,
Yep.
give us some feedback, let us know what heroes of yours are horrible sexual assaulters, because it's fucked up. It's real fucked up. We all
Yeah,
have at
yeah.
least one hero who's disappointed
Statistically,
us.
yeah, you're gonna run into one of your fandoms as a piece of shit
Yeah, at least
at the
in
helm
this.
of it. Yeah, for sure.
I just take heart knowing that J. Michael Straczynski is a beautiful man. That's all I know. Uh, Yeah, thank you guys
But
for joining us. Do you have
yes,
some ad?
yes, no. Next week we're gonna be back with a very, very fucking exciting episode. I'm oh man, I'm so excited to release this one. We got an interview with Jim Ojala from Ojala Effects, and though that name might not sound super familiar to you right now,
You know his
guarantee
work.
you know this man's work. It is fucking absurd. And the biggest credit being that this man has made the masks for Slipknot for like the past 5 years. And Slipknot, that was my first tattoo. I got it right before I like graduated high school and like walked down the aisle with it. I have been a massive fucking fan of Slipknot forever for my entire life. But to talk to a man who's like involved with that creative process along with so many, we covered so much shit, video games, we covered music, we
Yeah.
covered everything on that little episode. It was so much fucking fun.
I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like we could have talked for another couple of hours, but I think
Yeah.
we were just
Yeah.
try I think we were just like, well, we asked you for, 2 hours of your time, so we're gonna
Yeah.
keep it as brief as
You gotta
possible,
keep it brief. Yeah. Yeah.
Like we were trying to be cool, and then it concluded with him saying, "Why don't you guys come hang out sometimes?"
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. Literally. Yeah. So now we've just got a friend. Now we just made
Yeah.
a friend.
Now
But yeah,
he got a friend in we.
yeah. Yeah, but it's a great episode. The video, like I said, is dropping on YouTube. When that goes up, please go check it out. That is going to be a fucking great episode. I'm super excited for that one next week. And then we'll be back to movie reviews after that for sure. I've got something locked and loaded for the next pick that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
I'm looking at
entirely
this.
looking.
I'm looking at the spreadsheet, and it's one that I've been really waiting for. So I'm very happy
Oh,
to get into
fuck
it
yeah.
right now.
Okay. Fuck yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So go check that out. Like we said, go follow on us. Go follow us on all the
Yeah,
platforms. Go
please.
check it out.
Yeah, please. If you're watching on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and give us a good 5-star review. If
Mm-hmm.
you're listening on Spotify, please just go hit subscribe on YouTube. And even
Yeah.
if you're never going to watch it, it helps
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah.
And if you do decide to watch, please give us those likes and thumbs ups and all that good stuff
Yeah.
because unfortunately that's what the world is now is you need your trackable metrics or no one
Comment
knows.
on how cool you think my shirts are gonna be because I'm gonna wear band t-shirts in every episode. So, you
You're
know,
wearing a pretty sick one right now.
I know.
They're remaking the Thing game.
No, I didn't know that. That's awesome though. Oh my god,
Y-
that's so
y-
sick.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's so
I
sick.
I urge everyone to go check that out because that's cool
I
too.
shout out for my homies in 156 Silence though. Go ahead, listen to our episode, our possum episode where we had Jack on
Oh
actually.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That
That
was a
movie
lot of
haunts
fucking
me to
fun.
this day.
Absolutely. But yeah, go check out the YouTube, go check out everything. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I can smell Amanda smoking a bowl in the other room, so I gotta
Yeah.
go.
You gonna float like a Looney Tunes character.
Pick me up by the nostrils.
All right, you guys. See you guys.